RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
I got the wrong screen up. I always do that. Hey guys, this is Tara Devlin. How's it sounding? How's it looking? I'm trying a new position for the microphone. All right. So it doesn't block my face. It's like underneath. Maybe I need to block my face. I don't know. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out. This is Unapologetic Liberal Talk on the right side of history. Decent. Oh, shit. Did I just freeze? Is this thing frozen? Hello? Wait a second. This is why I started early. Oh, okay. Then it just unfroze. Shit. Because Hal Sparks is calling in, and I wanted everything to be functioning before because I think he's going to jump on at 8:30. So I don't know. Did that freeze for everybody or just me? It don't matter. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. How is it going in the chat room? Thank you for hanging out. We meet here every Friday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And we're at the Tarabuster Substack and also the Political Voices Substack. And I want to thank Charlie from APS Radio News. We're over at APS Radio News. And Charlie also runs a channel, APS Radio, that has classic rock and oldies all damn day. And classical music, another channel for classical music. And thank you, Charlie, because Charlie is a big supporter of this channel and of me emotionally too. So I need all the help I can get, as well we all do, right, during this horrible time in American history. And I don't know about you, but I've been incredibly despondent in the past couple of days since how long has it been? It's been a day, right, since Renee Good's been murdered. I can't. We don't know the horrors from one day to the next, so it's hard to keep track. It feels like it's 2 days. Yeah, it wasn't yesterday. It was the day before. Thank you, Eddie, on the chat. Yeah. I can't imagine what her partner's going through, her wife. But of course, I knew that the maggots would seize on that. Seize on the fact that she married a woman to otherize her. And I really just can't believe what we're witnessing because, well, can I believe it? Yeah. But the thing is, I don't want to believe it because I hoped for better. For the people who pretend to be Christian, right? That's why I'm so glad that John Fugelsang wrote that book, The Separation of Church and Hate. And he's out there doing the Lord's work, so to speak, wresting the delusion from these maggots that they are in any way, shape, or form following the teachings of the Savior they pretend to worship. Because we all know that if Jesus came back, if that were all true, they would crucify him again. Because they're the exact kind of people that did crucify him in the first place. They're horrible. How can you make America great when you're not even good? Right? Yes, exactly. And Suzanne on the chat says he stalked her down. We all saw the video. He was not a victim. He was a perpetrator. He murdered her in cold blood. That's what we witnessed, you see. And the whole country is suffering from PTSD, I believe. I know I am. Maybe I should just speak for myself. We need real healing in this country. And we're not going to get it with this lot of sick people in control because they're all damaged. They're damaged. They need to get the help that they are screaming for, and instead, and I wish I was wrong. I swear to God, because I've been saying it for years. If only Republicans get the help they need and stop inflicting it on society, on decent society. Come out of the closet, right? Stop being bigots. There's studies that show that, racists are stupid, bigots are dumb. they're all dumb. Of course they are. And worse than that, I'm talking about the maggots who vote for these maggots. But the people like J.D. Vance, that's evil. That's the banality of evil because he knows better. They all know better. Marco Rubio knows better. They all know who Traitor Trump is. They knew who he was, and they're all transactional. But what's the payoff here, right? It's not like they're are they playing this devil's bargain where they all I got to do is lick this con man's balls in Macy's window, metaphorically, and I get to restrain his worst impulses? No, that's not what we're seeing. This time, they're going for broke. They are going for Project 2025, which is the destruction of the experiment, the grand experiment in liberal democracy. And I'm sick of it. I don't, because here's the thing. Traitor Trump didn't even run on Project 2025. He ran away from it, right? I don't know what that is. Project 20, probably he called it Project 25, see? Because he didn't even know. He'd never heard of it. And then, of course, he praised the author of Project 2025 to the hilt. And they're following their blueprint one by one, including dismantling the federal government, dismantling the institutions that keep the American experiment running. So, okay, I'm sure we all saw. We can play this. Well, I know Hal is doing his show right now. Let me see. Maybe I should turn on Hal's show just to have it so I could see it. I can get some more because I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to start a little early.
The oil out of another country.
Let's see.
Until they.
So we could check all the levers here, and then we're gonna get rated like nobody's ever seen, and it's gonna be great because Hal has a very large audience, as you know, and I don't at this time. I have a steady and dedicated audience, and I'm very appreciative, of course. I'm grateful, but I know the show is going and growing thanks to you guys. But when Hal raids the show, I mean, we've gotten a lot of new subscribers and people who watch the show thanks to Hal. He's been amazing help to the show. All right. Hold on, where is and to I don't know, me and just me as a human. He's the real deal. That's why we're liberals, I suppose, because we mean it. We're not kidding around. And if we wanted to make money, if that was the primary directive, then we would just sell our souls to conservatism like the rest of these transactional maggots have done. It is exhausting to be an American. That's one thing you have to say, that being an American is very stressful because we don't have a strong social safety net. We don't even have days off here. And they have taken everything that is good about America, and they've turned that to shit. Everything that's good, they despise, and they vilify as weak and woke. Let me move this camera a little over. And we know that's not the case. We know that woke is good, and I hope to live to see the day where America breaks out of this spell, this selfish, self-destructive spell of sociopathy. How can you make America great when you're not even good? I really couldn't believe what I was witnessing with this J.D. Vance yelling at the reporters, gaslighting, Let's just listen to a bit of it. I know it's hard to stomach.
He defended himself. He's already been seriously wounded in law enforcement operations before,
This
and
is a
everybody
lie.
that this is some innocent woman who was out for a drive in Minneapolis. When a law enforcement officer shot at her. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Every single one of you. Questions?
You should be ashamed of yourself. See, J.D. Vance is America's scold. He's a closet case, okay? He wrote in his book that he was struggling with his gender identity. Nobody struggles with their gender identity unless you're struggling with your gender identity, right? So, where there's smoke, there's fire. And what's the deal with Peter Thiel? Hold on. Peter Thiel, the gay billionaire, right? He funded J.D. Vance's entire life. J.D. Vance described meeting Peter Thiel as the most important, or I don't remember exactly how he put it. It was one of the most pivotal moments of his life. And he, not the birth of his kids, not the wedding to his wife, but the meeting of this pasty, ghoulish-looking sociopath who hates America. That was a pivotal moment, and Peter Thiel funded his entire life. Now, J.D. Vance has only been in political office for a couple of years, so to go from nothing in politics to the vice president in a matter of a couple of years is pretty astonishing, but he couldn't have done it without Peter Thiel, who is an America-hating sociopath. Well, another reason, another poster child for why billionaires shouldn't exist, and how billionaires are anathema to freedom and democracy. So, J.D. Vance, he really is the banality of evil. When I saw this press conference, and this is when I really lost hope for the country. I think I really got to put a pin in that one, really, and say, yeah, that's where we can trace it back to. Because I've been struggling with this for a long time. I don't know. I would like to hear what you guys think. And when Hal calls in, I want to talk to him about it, too. Do we have hope? Is there hope for America as a United States? The only way we have hope is if there's a few ways. I mean, you have to agree on reality. You have to agree on the rules. You see, governments run on agreements, but we can't even agree on the reality of our own eyes. Now, it's not that, and this is why they're evil, because they saw what they saw, just as we saw what we saw. They know that the murderer of Renee Good was not in fear for his life or under any threat in any way, shape, or form, but this was the story that they had ready, at the ready. I don't think that I don't know, I don't think that they planned, they got together that day, that the murderer was like, I'm going to kill somebody today, but maybe. And to use the fact that he was already at one other time in fear for his life to justify the mobile execution squad that is ICE is disgusting and doesn't hold any kind of weight, because, okay, if you're so in fear for your life that you're trigger happy, then you should be taken off the field. But that's not an excuse to be the judge, jury, and executioner of an American citizen or any human being. This is evil. And then for Traitor Trump and J.D. Vance and the puppy-killing, goat-murdering, dirtbag, sociopath, dead-eyed bitch Kristi Noem to get out there and talk about domestic terrorism, we're in big trouble folks. The country is in big trouble with these monsters at the helm. How are we going to get rid of them? It's like a cancer in our body politic. They're the cancer. And when I saw this, and this is the point here, is that, of course, within minutes, they were already gaslighting the American people, that there will be no have you no decency moment. That's not going to happen here. When Tim Walz said that, it's not going to happen here because we don't have a set of agreed upon facts. We live in two different realities now, thanks to the filthy billionaires who have always hated democracy, the privileged princes of the new economic order, as FDR put them, the economic royalists. They have won. They have won. So what do? They've won the red states. You know, they've only won half the country. And the other thing is, with this couch fucking piece of shit, you know, yelling at people.
She was trying.
Oh, here's the other. I mean, they're so dehumanizing.
To do what the American people elected him to do, which is enforce our immigration laws. The president stands with ICE. I stand with ICE. We stand with all of our law enforcement officers.
You do? Except for the January 6th patriots, right?
Not everybody in this room, but many people in this room have been lying about this attack. She was trying to ram this guy with her name,
bitch.
He shot back.
Say her name. She was just out for a drive. You know, they're so dehumanizing to the American people. These people don't give a shit about America. They don't give a shit about the American people. They hate the American people. You understand? They even hate their supporters. They're the ones, their supporters, they hate even more because they're so stupid and easily played. Their supporters, you know, how could you respect anybody when you know, the con man doesn't respect his marks, and they get hurt even more, and they keep coming back for more. And they realize the only thing they have to do is tickle those racist funny bones and give them an other to focus their manias on, to focus their anger on. And, you know, they'll keep voting for their own demise every single time. But when I'm listening to all of them, listening to J.D. Vance, you know, he's a professional scold. That's really his job. You know, the vice president, the president, there's none of this, healer-in-chief, consoler-in-chief. I'm so sick of that in-chief bullshit. They're not in chief. These people, they have no business being a chief of anything. These are the chiefs of pouring salt in the wound. The chiefs of exploiting every fissure of disunity. That's what we're dealing with here. But you can see, you know, this anger that they have. The not righteous anger. They don't have decency to back it up. It's like Kristen, fucking press secretary. I was going to say Kristen Welker. She's the Meet the Press lady. Shit. You know, what's her name? Caroline Leavitt. Yeah, Caroline Leavitt and they're all horrible. Caroline Leavitt and who's the other one? Stephen Miller. They all get on there on the media and they scream and yell at anyone who's listening. They talk down to people. They scream and yell at people. And I guess the screaming and yelling is to compensate for the lying. So if you're screaming and yelling at someone, like you're trying to intimidate them, they're going to be scared and be like, oh, okay, I accept your alternate reality. Okay, just don't hurt me, daddy. But they don't seem to understand that the majority of Americans are not maggots, okay? They have never gotten more than like an approval rating of 50%. Now they're going down to 35%. Hold on a second. This is Tara Devlin. Wait, hold on. Need a link. I'm talking to Andre. No, Hal. has the link. He has to come here to my show. Oh, brother. I hope everything's working out. Hal said he'll be there. He'll be here in 15 minutes. So, but now Andrea, the producer, is texting me, asking me for. Do I need a link? That's why what? You know what I mean? You know what I mean. Okay. Yes. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, so it's about time. What I mean is that it's about time for us to take the position of righteous anger because we deserve it. We earned it. We are the righteous ones trying to save this country from those who not only hate America but are confused by America. So I really believe that all of this, I mean, and we've been talking about this forever, the strongly worded letters and emails. And I heard Chuck Schumer the other day when because they still haven't released the Epstein files. There's millions of documents they're still hiding. And I heard Chuck Schumer say, why don't they release all the files? What could they be hiding? That's as stern as it got. Here comes Hal. I can see he's wrapping up. I'm so scared. I'm so nervous. Everybody be on their best behavior. Hey, Tara, somebody writes, honest liberal. Yeah, right, bitch. Why did Joe Biden rape his own daughter in the shower? Hey, dumb bitch, why are you so stupid to believe the Russian-funded propaganda that, is always swirling around Maggotville, right? I mean, why do these people, don't they ever get tired of being Putin's bitches? Oh, my God. That is easy. Well, it's like why would I spend time debunking that for this fucking idiot? Because it's like they're impervious to reality. It's a waste of air, time, space, and we only have a limited lifespan. Yes, the raid is on the way. I can't believe it. This is so exciting. Yeah, let me get this. All right, here we go. Here we go. Ringy dingy. Hold on, Hal. Uh-oh, I don't see you. I do not see Hal. Hold on a second. Are you there? Uh-oh. I gotta hang up. I think something went wrong there. We'll fix it. Let me see. I'll put the screen up. Uh-oh. Call back, Hal. Call back. He might be getting his phone ready. When he called, I couldn't see him. Oh, my lordy. I'm so nervous. What do you want to talk about? Well, I want to talk about whether we're going to survive, actually. All right, let's see. How? Hello? He's not. Something is wrong.
Oh, there we
here
go.
Here we go. I see
there we
something
go. Hold
now.
on. I'm going to sign off.
Okay. Yeah, now we have something.
Hold on. Now I'm going to be on her show. Okay, bye.
This is amazing. Can you hear me? Hello?
I think that she can hear me. I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you.
Look out, everybody. Here we go.
I hear you.
Oh, yeah.
You can't hear me, though, huh?
Hold on. Let's do this. I'm going to try Chrome.
Uh-oh.
Come on, Chrome, you jerk. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you can hear me. Uh-oh. Let me see. Where's the guest chat?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Allow.
Hello.
Allow this time. There we go.
Hello.
And then...
Oh, boy.
Hold on. Let's go. Here.
It's scary.
This kind of thing. Oh, yes. Virtual camera. And...
Hello, I hear something.
You can virtual. Check. Hey, check.
I hear. I hear him. He can't hear me.
Join.
Hello.
Fingers crossed. Again. We'll see.
Hello.
Should be all right.
Hello. You hear me? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I don't hear you. Oh shit. This is fucked up. I heard you. You know what? Call. Oh no. Call on the other. I don't hear you.
Add you first.
Oh, now I heard you for a second. Holy shit. What the fuck is going on here?
It's okay. There's a delay. It happens.
Oh, okay. Now I hear you.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes a minute for it to wake up. You know what I mean? I've had this problem all the time. We're good. You're all right. Hi. Welcome.
Woo. I'm sweating here. Damn. I get nervous.
I know the technology.
No, I know, but you're great, so thank you. And you know,
my pleasure.
You know what you're doing, and I'm like, whenever something goes wrong, I'm like, oh no, you know, where do I start to break this down? So yeah. And how you doing, anyway?
I'm good. I'm as, better than most, not as good as some, and spectacular considering. There's a lot of. I'm in the middle of personal mountains, I'm ice skating uphill in a couple areas, just life stuff, and it's okay. Right. And I, in many ways I wouldn't change a thing because life is to be lived and, excrement occurs, as we say.
Right. No, you're right. And we will be sleeping a long time, as my sister always says, right? And you got to just show up, right?
Yeah. So. Well, I happen to think we're not going to be sleeping a long time. I think this is the nap. I think we wake up from bed.
I hope you're right.
I am.
Yeah. How do you know? No, because I could talk to you about this too, because I've had some interesting spiritual experiences that I could not explain, and I'll tell you a story. You want to hear a story very quickly?
Yes, I do.
Let's start here, because maybe this is what I need to remember. When I was a kid, I was like 15 years old, around there, and my neighbor, who I still know, who I grew up with my friend, we were the same age, and then his parents still live next door to my old house. I still talk to them. And they're in their 80s now, and they're normal people. They live on Staten Island, actually, but they're not Trumpanzees, thank God, right? That's But anyway, all right. So my friend's mom was very Catholic, still is, very religious. She went to church every day, that type. And we had a spiritual faith healer. She's like, she said to myself and my friend Joe, she's like, you're going to this mass, this famous spiritual faith healer was coming, and this is a Catholic church, by the way, so it's not like it wasn't, an evangelical church. It was like legit Catholic, and it's called, this guy was supposed to be like a rock star. And so we went, and it was a healing mass, and it was the kind of mass where people were fainting. You know what I'm talking about? Like he would go over and slap them, and they would fall. Yeah. And my friend and I, we were cracking up. We were 15 years old. Yeah. We were like, "What the fuck is going on?" We were laughing, and I was already smoking cigarettes and stuff. And so we would like run in, run out, smoke cigarettes, smoke pot, come back in, laugh. Anyway, so this priest came over to myself and my friend Joe, and I woke up on the floor. Okay.
Close for a second.
Oh no. And I woke. Yeah, I hope it. Yeah. And I woke up on the floor. So he came over to us. We were laughing at this, and I fell out on the floor. And I woke up. I looked over. My friend Joe was laying next to me. He was still out. Like passed out. And he woke up, looked at me, we both laughed, and ran out of the church. And we were like, what the fuck was that? And I remember the next day, I was on the bus going to school, and I was sitting in the back of the bus, and I was looking out the window, and all the kids were talking, and a lot of, all the commotion going on it was the city bus. We were going to high school. And I remember sitting in the back, like, feeling that I was okay, and it was like such a new feeling to me. And I was like, wow, I don't want to kill myself as much today. And it was weird. You know what I mean? And, but eventually it wore off. So then when the years went by and I was, in my active addiction and all that, I'm in recovery and all, and, miserable and struggling with life, wait, hold on, I lower this. And I kept thinking, yeah.
I get it.
I was like, what was that? Because I'd be like, oh, there's no God, fuck God, but what was that, right? And and I do remember that I felt, I just felt okay, like at peace, and I was in spite of myself. So, and I mean, I wasn't there to, to have that experience. So we were laughing at this, So I don't even know. I'm like, yeah. And years later, because now I practice Buddhism, right? And when I first started practicing Buddhism, I went and I used to practice Zen. I practice Nichiren Buddhism now, but I went into this Buddhist retreat.
Nichiren Shoshu?
Not the Shoshu, no, the SGI.
Okay, thank you.
You know what I'm talking about. No Shoshu here. Okay.
Yeah. I'm Yoho Rengeko, now Yoho Rengeko, like that.
But with the SGI. So, So I said to the monk, I should say, do you believe in God? Because you could have one question with this when you had private one-on-one instruction. And I said to her, do you believe in God? And she smiled, of course, because there's no God in Buddhism. And she said, and I told her that story. And she said, well, perhaps the priest saw no separation. And then she rang the bell and I had to leave, So, and maybe that's what God is, and I do believe there's more than meets the eye here. And that's just one weird thing that happened in my life. I know we all have stories like that. So when you say, this is the nap, I know it's just, spiritual being in a human experience. And I want to connect to that.
I'll go even further than that, because it requires no metaphysics at all in my belief system of how we're here. I think the odds are that we are in an ancestor simulation. Statistically speaking, mathematically speaking, that we are in a generated simulation. And most people think of a simulation as being computer generated, but at the level of quality it would have to be, it would be next stage science. And they always say that, like, science at its highest level is like indistinguishable from magic, for example. So I think, here's what I've mentioned this before, and this does not take the worth out of life. As a matter of fact, it makes it more meaningful and a little less scary. And I think if you can make life more meaningful and a little less scary, what the fuck is art for but that? And so here's what I think happened. Alan Turing had a partner named Claude Shannon. Am I getting this right here? Yeah. And he was working on the user interface for computers, so that eventually you wouldn't have to flip switches. You could type stuff in, and then you wouldn't have to type stuff in. You could use a mouse and a desktop, and then eventually you could just talk to the fucking thing, and then you could put on a gem thing on the side of your head or in the middle of your forehead, and you would just interact with whatever the computer or the AI did on your behalf. So if you wanted the computer to make or do something, you would communicate it that way. And therefore, you would have to be in a lot more alignment with what you wanted, because you could sort of make, if you had the power to make a lightning strike, your level of discipline would have to be so high. Your level of maturity would have to be so high that nobody would trust you until you reached that level of maturity. So Buddhists often talk about how you have to live 10,000 lives to achieve nirvana, to move beyond the suffering of the mortal world.
Some Buddhists, yes.
Yeah, but generally that's it's Zen and
yes.
Shinto Buddhism both are use that, and it's an analogy that doesn't matter. There's a version of it that you have to go beyond your attachments, and beyond, and be able to focus in spite of the suffering and absorbing the suffering as opposed to negating the suffering to move on to the next level. Well, to me, that sounds like a lesson in how to operate a gun. You don't give a gun to somebody who's nuts. You want somebody to know how to operate the thing, and that has, with the power that's in it, you should have the maturity and the emotional awareness and because even if you're never going to fire it except to defend yourself or someone innocent, you still would have to have a tremendous amount. Whoops, I think I paused for a second. I will wait until my pause comes back until you let me know.
No,
the pause has not happened. There's a little bit of kerfuffle in the interwebs. And it's okay. This happens every time I try to describe the order of the universe.
Yeah.
Every time.
You look okay to me. You look okay to me.
3, 2, 1. Nope.
No,
okay.
I'm waiting. Can you hear me?
And we're waiting. And we're waiting.
Shit.
There we go. I'm back. I hear you.
Yeah.
That's okay. I paused myself.
Oh, you paused yourself? Because we can hear you. You were going, but I guess you couldn't see yourself.
Oh, good. Okay. Because it froze for me. So maybe it's just coming this way. All right. I will continue and describe this until you just go like this. But anyway, I take cues out of the past as signs of what this could possibly be. And from a scientific standpoint, if you figured out all the things that we as humans have been trying to figure out for a long time, how to live peacefully amongst each other when we are different, how to cure diseases, how to create a technology that moves us beyond any kind of scarcity and all those kind of things. That level of technology, after you had it, you would protect it from the baser instincts that you know exist in humanity. Now, you'd have a choice at this junction. You could eliminate those things. You could genetically remove all the traits of humanity that would interfere with your magic kingdom. You could do all this gene clipping and take out our aggressive nature. You could remove testosterone and estrogen. You could remove our digestive tract, and you could make us only eat for pleasure and like you do a bunch of shit if you have that level of science. But it would take away the essence of our humanity. The other way to do it is put us through an education process that allows us to get it out of our system, that allows us to experience all the angles of life so that we're never wanting for a grass is greener kind of a thing. And we've been through enough suffering and enough joy that we kind of have an even keel about most things. We haven't lost our humanity, but we're mature beyond a level that is possible in one lifetime. So what you do, how would you do that? Okay, so let's say we're living in the future and the 1950s didn't happen, 60 years ago or 70 years ago. It happened 3,000 years ago in reality. In the time scale right now, it is not 2026. It is the year 6,000. Time has passed. It's not humans still exist. It is the year. And the way we... Whoops. I'm getting there. Yeah. So, once we get to that point where it's the year 6,000, how do you raise your young? How do you have new people? Because anybody under 100 is going to be a fucking maniac. And you would never let them anywhere near your pristine, perfect supercomputer society. But you're also not going to remove humanity to keep that society because it's counterintuitive. Like, what are we protecting? If you have to destroy to protect your environment, then maybe your environment doesn't deserve saving, right? So the thing we'll take our young and we will mature them on a scale that previous humans could never experience. So you put them in school and they start out on an evolutionary arc. And when they're kids and they're little, you go in a simulator and you're a little fucking bunny and you live as a bunny for an hour and you experience life as a bunny and it's cute and fun. And then just like the shows we watch, you experience the life of that thing. And then as you grow up, it becomes more and more realistic, more and more protected, more and more like uniform, depending on the lessons. And then the brighter and wiser you get, the more complex your lessons would have to become. So instead of taking a math class, you would live a life as a mathematician. So when you die, you have all the memories of an entire life learning math, and as a computer scientist, and as a doctor, and as all the things that we would want to be, as a pilot, as a all the skills you would want to have as a human being who's fully matured. Think of anything you want to do, any language you would want to speak. Instead of eliminating those things, we allow our people to live and die as those people. You change races multiple times. I think our race still exists outside of this, but you can live as multiple races to experience at different times in history what they went through. There's also no reason why time would be linear in your experience, that when you end this life, you go on to 2055 and on. You could go back to the 1800s and live a life in the fucking Old West, because the purpose is experience that really convinces you. Now, it's just like a movie. Why do you watch a movie ever? Entertainment and education. Learning something, having an experience you couldn't possibly have on your own, and enjoyment, adventure, right?
Yeah, and seeing life through other people's eyes, and
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So, at what point did the society, where I was just at CES today, at what point does our society start building a system like that for learning? It would be the primary way to do it. If you could take a math class or get a degree in physics or something like that, that took you 8 years and a PhD and all this kind of stuff, but it would take 8 of your actual life years. Or you could live 86 years in an hour, like Inception or, the Matrix kind of idea, but Matrix, with a dream time scale that you could understand, where you physically don't really age, but you experience 86 years of life, falling in love, meeting people, tragedy, the joys and pains of a human life, and you learn to be a physicist. You would be so much better a physicist and have so much a deeper awareness, not of a respect for everyone else's skill and awareness when you came out of that, than if you ever were a 15-year-old who took a fucking physics class because you live in the future and they could just program the physics knowledge into your head.
Right.
So here's the thing. I think in the earth that we're on, there's no one here that's older than 16 years old in the real world. And I think we're a bunch of 16-year-olds that get to play dress up as full lifestyle. And some of us are more advanced. There's some fucking wise 16-year-olds, but they're still 16. And
why 16 though?
There.
What do you mean?
I think this is high. I'm just saying, like, we're high schoolers.
I agree with that. Like, because I trace it from, like, when we came out of the primordial ooze, so to speak, and we're still maturing over time. We might even be toddlers at this point, really.
Sure, outside of the realm of this. So if you think of it, think of this simulation. You put on these goggles. You're 15 years old. You put on these goggles, and there's a little sleep gas and whatever, and you temporarily forget the outside world while you're learning this, so you can stay focused on the lesson. In the same way that you try not to have a job when you're in college if you don't have to, so you can focus on your studies. It's the same kind of idea. So you can singularly focus on this. And after you get out, you remember everything that happened in the life. But when you go back in, you intentionally forget it. It's like flashy
Otherwise,
thing, and you would just. You just rule over everyone else and know the end of every fucking. You just run this life over and over again and just win every lottery and just be an asshole, right? So, point being is that outside of this, when it's done, you get a grade. You're judged, and how you reacted, how empathetic you were, how wise you were, how much you wronged other people. If that wasn't indeed the lesson, will reflect on you as a person.
And what happens then? What do you think?
You go back.
You go back.
And again, and again, and again. And the more you victimized others, the more lives you go back experiencing victimization. And so the question is not, how does God let bad things happen to good people? It's the karmic wheel that you experience in Buddhism, that no one is free from the suffering, and that everybody brings their own package in. And it's not like these people deserved it, because in this lifetime they know no better, but they're learning a lesson outside of this, and they're teaching a lesson to the rest of us to not let that happen to anybody. So while we're not just teaching the person who gets, let's say Hitler comes back as a kid who's John Benet Ramsey or one of Gacy's victims or something, right? And something terrible happens. But they learn through how we all react that we can't allow that to happen. That they know on some level they were Hitler in their last life, and they're watching everybody else still fight for their innocence in this one. That's also our value as well. So we don't belong as judges in the karmic wheel. That's why judge not lest ye be judged. And also, I am, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. That's the idea. You're not. That's not your fucking job. Your job is to be the best, most loving, most accepting human being, and the most helpful you can possibly be, without taking any untoward shit while you're here, because there is a material world that you have a responsibility for while you're here. Lessons to be learned, and this is your real life. You weren't put into this world in a future 1,000 years from now where you get to float around and everybody has wings again. You work so you can live in this world and be real in this world. So when you get out of this, there is a sort of a judgment day, but it's a grading, and it involves whether you come back or not, and how much more learning you have to do. And I suppose there are people who just enjoy being pieces of shit, and they hack their way into it in that future, or have tried at different times in life, and they pop into our reality because it's hackable, maybe. Yeah. And that's why they go up and Hitler their way through it. And then it still becomes a lesson the world learns. So it ends up working in that regard. Now, it also would explain why over time magic used to happen, ghosts used to happen, and then they happen less and less. Because in the early versions of it, you might go, just like games you play on, like if you play video games, you might like Mario Kart when you're a kid, or you might like a game that allows you to fly. Right. But when you get older, it gets a little tired, and people tend to play like Sim Earth and shit like that. So you want to play chess, you want to play things that are more complicated, and because you understand that, or you want to put the game down entirely and read a book, which would be the depth of a life. Yeah. All the complications, all the stuff, not a clear winner, not a clear loser, all those things. That means you're maturing. That means it's working. Right. It doesn't mean you're wrong to go to Ren fairs and shit like that, but it's a callback to what made you comfortable in a past life, perhaps. So the theory is that there's not a God outside this world, but there is your teachers, your panel of teachers, and they may come and go in your life as guides. They can pop into the sim with you, walk alongside you as a stranger or as a friend or somebody you meet on a fucking train, and go, hey, you ever think about maybe picking up the trombone? And then they just fucking go away. Right. Okay, because you said, hey, if I get too distracted on this one because I'm supposed to play the trombone, can you just show up and play the trombone on the subway or wherever and remind me how much I love it? When those things happen, that's because you're still in the guidance portion of the sim, where you're learning to be a better human, and you need a little nudge every now and again. And there are people I think the people who are highly religious, who are Orthodox religious, are literally brand fucking new. They might just be toddlers who are here, and they literally need a teacher to walk them by the shoulders through almost every aspect of life, because they're fucking new. And there's nothing wrong with being it's not, you don't get points for being an 8th grader and dunking on a 4th grader. That's just where they are. And you show your maturity as an 8th grader by recognizing these people are at a different lesson plan than I am, and I have sympathy because I was probably there. You were definitely there at one point in your recurring part of this. So the sim operates all the time. It's a school. This Earth is a school. It's a conflict academy, and it teaches you how to deal with conflict and disruption and chaos and love at the same time. And that's its value. That's a feature, not a bug.
What a shame. No, I just think that, the delusion, that's what I because I practice Buddhism, we talk about Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, and I do
which is
chant.
Not a religion, by the way, it's the system of mental hygiene.
It's just, I love the community, it's lay Buddhist, there's no monks, there's nobody holding your enlightenment hostage or anything. So, and we get together and it's encouraging, and people, we all encourage each other. Because I need positive people around me, to encourage, because I'm like glass half empty type person. So I need the people to be like, yeah, no, we can do it.
You're what's commonly referred to as a woman. Sorry, just kidding.
You son of a bitch.
You bastard.
Right. Yes. But and I know that there's more here than meets the eye. That's what really drives me mad about the religious, people like Mac Johnson or whatever, these people that speak for God or say, how the fuck do you know what God is? A man on a cloud? Talk about a very like a limited God, that he's just a bigger version of your asshole self, really. And so they project their shit onto him. And why a him? That's the other thing. But, we're all deluded. That's why I think the world is so fucked up, because we're all in this deluded, erroneous thinking that we are, like the monk said to me, that there are separation, that there is no separation, really. We should be each other's keepers. We should give a shit. That's why Mother Nature made us with feelings where we feel each other's pain. I know how you feel. Other creatures don't have that, because, they're not supposed to, lizards don't feel each other's pain. They don't have that part of the brain, but we do,
The question too is, did they have it at one point and then they lost it? The other thing too is maybe lizards are human beings riding through this sim early on to recognize what it's truly like to be a villain kid, and they don't want to teach you what it's like to be a rapist and a murderer yet. Right. You're not ready. So you live as a lizard, and then you go, this when you grow up and you're like playing the part of the awful, so somebody else can learn the victim lesson.
Oh God, yeah. Right.
You're like, how the fuck do I do this? And you're like, remember when you were a lizard? It's kind of like that.
Right. It's like when you think about whales, they have a whole part of their brain, a whole other part of their brain that has even more emotion. Like, they're very highly social. And they have, and I'm sure you know this because you're like an encyclopedia. They have different dialects and all over the world. They have their own language. They live in families. They live in community. They of course have deep bonds with their community.
They have amazing meditation tracks that you can download.
Right. But I wonder about, must be very frustrating to have all these emotional, the big, and the brain is giant and everything, and but have no arms, or legs, or they can't really make anything. You know what I mean? They can't build. Buildings and go to the moon.
They can fuck up a billion krill, though. One of my favorite jokes is, this is a total side note, but I have to tell it because you brought up whales, is a Catholic priest, a rabbi, and a humpback whale walk into a bar. And the Catholic priest walks up and goes, "Oh, son, could you give me a shot of your finest Irish whiskey? I'd love to have a taste of your finest Irish whiskey. Something to calm the nerves after a hard day of listening to other people's woes." And they give this guy and the rabbi goes, "A little Manischewitz, I don't ask for much, but a little, sometimes you just need to relax at the end of a long day. So I'm not, don't bother yourself, but the little Manischewitz would be very welcome, my friend." And the guy gives him Manischewitz and takes a sip. And the whale goes, that's it.
That's a good one. I like that.
I love it. Yeah, it's good. It's so... I love that joke because it annoys people.
Well, it's good. I mean, you really own it too. That's what I love. It's like your T-Rex joke that I love. I love that.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that fucking, when you did that, I saw that at the Stephanie Miller in the city here. I went to I was like literally crying and falling out of my chair. So. Yeah.
Oh, you should see me do my. I'm working on a Godzilla versus Kong thing that will.
That's. I can only imagine. Wow! Look, I'm crying. When I laugh, I cry. It's just one of my curses.
So so when I talk about like the simulation aspect of this kind of thing, it's how I kind of make sense of what we see here that's spiritual or that's metaphysical, right, and yet fits into my material understanding of the world. It does not mean that beyond the simulation there would not be a God above in the architecture of an intelligence in the universe that's beyond that. As a matter of fact, it would be the divine thing to inspire how this came about.
You think a guy maybe?
A guide. Maybe.
Yeah, like a giant man.
Well, again, I think Albert Pike, famous, Masonic historian, and Confederate general, so nobody's perfect, wrote a book called Morals and Dogma. And in Morals and Dogma, when he's talking about religion, he says about all the religions, because Masonry is a secular group. You have to be a believer. What you believe is up to you. As long as you believe in the life after this one, it's okay. And he put it this way: everyone is entitled to their own unique mistake. And I've always believed that God, were it to exist in any form or formlessness, would be too complex an idea to fit in the human corpus callosum, no matter what you did. We could just not process
so true.
it.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a bottleneck insufficient to the data necessary to comprehend what it is. So you'll always analogize it. You will always find an analogy for it that makes sense to you in your religious or spiritual, or you will create an analogy to distance yourself from it if you're trying to, like, stem your need for it or treat it like an addiction or whatever, which some people do. Also, I personally believe that in the simulation, atheists are bots. They're not wrong about there being nothing after this life. They just don't exist outside the sim. Now, they might be sentient inside the sim, and therefore their lives are just as worthwhile as any other person who's participating in the sim in that regard. So if you unplug the sim, you kind of kill those people in some ways. But they're right. They're not wrong that when you die, nothing happens and you just, it's all darkness and you sleep forever, because that's what happens to them. Right. You don't live in the sim you're actually just using the sim. Like when you're playing Call of Duty and you stop playing, you go back to your life. You're walking around, but the bots in there just cease.
Right.
They don't have a consciousness. They don't understand anything. They don't continue a thought or keep playing the game until you show up again. It doesn't work like that. So I think atheists are the same way, and they serve a purpose while they're here. Don't worry, I'm not trying to say.
I'm thinking of my good friend Mike Malloy. So
you're right. Well, how you treat people here, whether they're real or not, still reflects on your record.
I mean, Mike
they don't have to be fellow humans who are doing the sim and go, well, everybody else is just a bot, so fuck them. It doesn't work that way. You're here to actually live this life with the depth and beauty and experience that you possibly can, to elevate yourself.
Right.
To be the closest thing to a Jesus or a Buddha that you possibly could be. And then when you get to the point where you've got it, there might even be a life where each and every one of us ascends like a god in that particular sim. It's like graduation day, where eventually you're just like, I get it, and then you're just like,
and you go somewhere else, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I think. I mean, I think
you wake up like Neo in the Matrix. They pull the thing out, and you're like, oh, I get it now. And you're the nicest, wisest, smartest you could ever be.
Right.
And then you start living. And in that living with your fellow human beings who are equally as smart and equally as wise and equally as talented and equally as trained and everything, you don't have to worry about the sort of moral needs of the people around you. And then whatever we're dealing with in that side of the other equation, whether it's exploring the universe and bringing it together, maybe humans are a bridge species, and that's what we ultimately do. Is we Star Trek our way around and introduce different species together and go, hey guys, kumbaya, we've been through all the awful, we know how to get past it. And you can only get through that stuff if you've been through it. Right? Yeah. You really aren't any good to anybody at solving a conflict.
That's true in life in general. Yeah, right. No, I agree. I mean, I've had these epiphanies, like how, we don't even have it's kind of exactly what you're saying. We don't have the capacity to even ask the questions to understand what quote unquote God is in the universe. Like my cat is very smart. He's toilet trained and everything, but he has no language to even ask or even understand that there's TV stations and satellites and people go to the moon. What's that?
How the food gets in the bowl.
Yeah, exactly. Like he just doesn't, the TV's on, he watches cat TV. He doesn't get it, the whole complexity. So that's how I think we are.
I think here's the part about the simulation thing that I think, help people relax into this is that we do have this capacity when we're outside of this. But when we volunteer our time and out of necessity to learn and participate in the society we all have outside this, that we choose to immerse ourselves in the difficulties and the complexities and the pain and the confusion that also goes with all the wonderful aspects of this life. And it's also a shared experience that we can contemplate it as our mature self outside this, but we intentionally deprive ourselves of the ability, the capacity to understand these things while we're here, again, so that we don't just go. You ever watched a horror movie with somebody who isn't bought in, and they fuck up the movie because they're like, this is great. You're like, dude, I'm trying to be scared. Like, that's why I can't. It's supposed to be a scary movie. You're fucking up the scary movie. Like, that's ketchup. That's not even blood. Why would you do that? Right? You know what I mean? So you intentionally go, look, not only am I not going to go to the movie and be a dickhead and sit there and go, bullshit, because it wastes my time and my experience, but you're also going to do that for the other people around you. You have committed to this life and the experience of what you go through here, the beauty of it and the pain, the entire package of being a human being, so that you don't ruin somebody else's experience. Now, occasionally, you're watching a horror movie and you're terrified and you want to leave, a friend going, it's just a movie, is really helpful.
Right.
And that's when you either have the people that have chosen to go through the sim with you, that are your family or your friends on the other side who have been in different lives and different roles and stuff like that over time. But, you know, that they can do that for you. Or again, your instructor or a friend who is just watching. Let's say you have a buddy who's not in the same class as you, but they can check in on you and you go, oh, fuck, his heart rate's spiking. What the fuck's going on here? Oh, Jesus Christ.
Right.
Seconds, that's a year in this life. So if you see somebody's heart rate go up on this chart in the other world, in the sim, you love how I've played this whole thing out in my head? That if your friend goes up and goes, fuck, their brainwaves are fucked. This must be awful. How long is this? It's been like this for like 2 years? I'm going in. And then you go click and they walk up to you and go, and that's when they show up on a subway and go, hey, I haven't seen you since high school. What's going on, man? You know what? I was thinking about you the other day. And I was like, I love you. And I'm so glad we ran into each other. Right? And that shit, when that happens, especially during a really difficult time, there's a beauty to it because it's not just that it happens, but that it's a reminder that outside this simulation we're all in, there are partners in our growth and partners in our learning who are watching out for us. People who might be your brother or sister who's 2 years older than you that's already been through that class and remembers how fucked up it was to go through relationship shit. Yeah. And go, man, I had a hard time. I'm going to go check. I got an hour off lunch today, so I'm going to go watch to make sure their hour of being a fucking, flute player that gets a divorce and finds out they have fucking, intestinal cancer, which is like, when you're going through, the class, which like 3 problems at once or whatever, right?
Yeah. No, in Buddhism, that's what we say. You picked it. You picked your lifetime. You picked your parents. You picked your, what challenges you would have. And so I'd always say, I picked it. I picked being here in this fucking country at this time. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, you did, and it's okay, and you're up for it, and it is ultimately just catch up. It's why when they go, how could God let something this terrible happen to someone? Well, it happens to everybody thousands of times, and it's for their own good. Ultimately, they are not harmed on the outside. You expunge the tragedy. There's this weird thing that happens when people are dying, where there's this peace that comes over them. There's that happens consistently. There's this experience when people are old and they start to see old friends and people like that.
That's right.
We understand the trauma of the experience, and we want to make sure that when you leave, you just take most of the good shit with you. I would argue that dementia and Alzheimer's are one of the ways in modern life to handle those kind of things, where you start jettisoning shitty memories and difficult stuff and baggage before you leave. And then when you get outside of it, you're like, okay, I'm good or whatever, but I couldn't carry that with me. I got close to the end, and I was holding on to it too hard. I got to start forgetting that shit. And it has a value. It has... and you start remembering childhood friends and everybody, your son or your daughter ends up being a high school friend and those kind of things. It's because you're jumbling those memories up so that they don't scar you and fuck you up because you after you wake up, in a half an hour, you have to go to another class where you're going to be, whatever, the Buddhist radio podcaster person.
The podcaster, yeah. No, it's true. Well, I have another story, quickly. Well, okay. Do you believe in ghosts, too?
Well, okay, so ghosts, a couple of things. I love the idea that there was this analogy that if you were a fish and you saw a hand stick its hand in the fish tank like that, you would just see these 5 snakes, but they're all the same hand.
Yes.
Okay. I think soulmates are fingers of the same hand. So it's not just that you're meeting somebody you share a lot with. It's actually you. It's just you in a different, because once you get smarter, you can do 5 classes at once. You can actually do stuff, and some of them overlap. So because it's a very complex system. The same thing with ghosts is that there's remnant stuff that happens either, you'll find glitches in any complex computer system. So why not? And if something happens that wasn't necessarily part of the plan, because there's enough random here to make it a viable thing. Because again, I've always said I believe in 3 gods: the God of loving kindness, the God of lessons, and the God of completely random bullshit. And the third one,
which could be the God of lessons. Right?
Yeah, but the third one is there to make sure you don't know what the answer is before the test comes, and that you don't see the life coming before it happens. You've got to think everything's random. Otherwise, you just go, wait a minute, I know this, and you play it like Dragon's Lair, the old game where you just play the path instead of actually living life, right? So you have a limited number of choices, and you start flipping coins and shit like that to make decisions, or checking tarot. That's when you're trying to, you're trying to shortchange your lesson plan. Right. And so, yeah.
Well,
so
I have a story
I think those are remnants that in this virtual environment we're in, you could absolutely leave behind energetic explosions if somebody's harmed or shocked by something, if they die horribly or whatever. Right. There's a reason why they like that pulse of energy when a body wants to not die, in this environment it has a ripple effect, and so there's no reason why it wouldn't be recorded in the environment or in the cells of the people that are that we live inside this space.
Well, let me tell you this:
as
what
like
happened.
A glitch.
It didn't happen to me though. It's a friend. When I used to work at Food Network, and
I have a ghost story that I actually lived through. So.
Oh really? Okay. Well, I'll quickly. I was. Remember that show, Celebrity Ghost Story? Were you ever on that show?
I was on Celebrity Paranormal Project with Gary.
Okay. Yeah, no. Now that I'm saying this, I think I saw you. But it was a different. This is the one where the celebrities tell ghost stories. It was only a few years. I think it was on Sci-Fi Channel. But,
okay.
Yeah, I had a friend, my friend, well, I don't have him, he's still a friend, but he used to do the visual effects for it. He used to make the ghosts, right? And so one day, and he worked at Food Network with me, and he did this as a side project, and we were talking about it. He's like, showing me the ghosts, and we were talking about the show. And I said, oh, God, yeah, I saw that show, and it was so creepy, and I was telling the story that I had seen on the show. And then one of my coworkers came, she's like, I have to tell you something. I can, I'm talking. I can hear your conversation. So, she came over and she told us when she was a kid, in Brooklyn, she was a child. Like a 6, 7, 8-year-old kid. Every night there was a little girl ghost that used to come and play with her at night. Mm-hmm. Her mother would put her into bed, and then her mother. And it was like no big deal to her. Maybe she was a little younger than 8, but like a toddler, And her mom said to her once, "When I put you to bed, do you get up?" Because she would hear her running around, and she goes, "Oh well, Amy comes and plays with me, so I get up." And she's like, "Amy? Who's Amy?" She's like, "The little girl that comes, she comes every night." And so. Anyway, long story short, she called the mother called up the landlady, and the people who lived there before had a child who died, and of course, her name was Amy. And now I know this person. She's not a kook. She's just a regular girl that works at Food Network, and told us this story because we were talking about ghosts, and I said, she said it went on for years, and. And eventually it just got less and less, I guess, as she got older. And Amy stopped coming. And I said, did you ever get scared? And she said, no, except one time when she fell asleep in the car, when, as you do when you're a kid, and her mother and father carried her into her bed. She woke up and she could feel somebody looking at her, and she opened her eyes, and Amy's face was like right on her face, like she was like looking right at her, and she screamed. So, but she just got startled. It wasn't like she was trying to scare her. So it was like, more like, are you awake? And I felt really bad for this little girl ghost, because where's her family? Who's going to take her into the light? Like, I don't want to die and be the, the queen's apartment ghost or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, why isn't someone taking her? So
sure.
Anyway.
Okay, couple of things. One is, I think a ghost is a remnant of that energy when something bad happens, but it is not the actual person themselves, and it's not a piece of them. What it is, it's like a recording, or it's more like a computer tape that is recorded in the environment that it's in, or with the person that it imprints on, a certain limited version of the actions of that person. It is not their soul, not themselves, but it will play through. It's got limited things it can do. It can move some dishes. It can be mad about some things and happy about others. It can act out elements of it, but it's just the digital personality left behind of this person. It is not actually them.
It's not actually her.
They want to do their shit. But the experience was so strong that it imprinted in the game. It left something. And the other thing is that there is value. There, we think of in our sort of scientific idea that somehow faith is worthless, that belief beyond evidence is a waste of time. The problem with it is that you believe there's enough oxygen outside that you go outside. If you had to question whether there was enough oxygen every day, you would be so OCD you would not be able to move. And there are people who live like that, and it limits their lives, obviously. And so we have faith all the time. That's why I kind of mentioned that our normal state is optimism. We believe every day when we eat something that we're going to live long enough to shit it out. That's optimism. There's no guarantees, but you think so, right? You don't think like, might be my last breakfast every time you have breakfast. You're optimistic. You're going to have breakfast tomorrow. You're even thinking about breakfast tomorrow. That's optimism. It really is. It's a baseline optimism. It's still true. So in the case of a ghost like that, why would you, in a sim like this, where you're trying to teach people how to be advanced humans, in my theory, why would you allow for ghost stories and mythology and fucking, different versions of it? Because it seems like you're trying to you want everybody to be realistic and whatever when they come out. You don't want to, have any kind of, cult-like fixations or whatever it is. But the reality is that maybe, just maybe, in life, there are unknowns, that there are unknowables no matter what you do. That has become a permanent reality. No matter what we do, there are unknowables. And if you are without the skill to be able to release some of those unknowables or operate in a bubble of faith in the parts of life you can't explain, you will be paralyzed by that the older you get, and the more because you'll start to ruminate on that. So in this simulation, having ghosts and stuff appear but not really be verifiable, UFOs, that kind of shit, fucking big. There's a reason why you would have that in the peripheral of the learning thing to keep it interesting and a reason to have a fucking conversation before sex over coffee and a relationship play that you're doing. This particular sim, but also to keep your mind open to the possibility, because if you watch like old Star Trek episodes, there was always things where they would go to there were universes where people were just stuck in Nazi time and they had to bring them out of it, whatever, Cro-Magnon, right? But there were also areas where like there was an intelligence and it was just kind of a cloud and they don't really know how to interact with it yet, or if it's real and somebody's bullshitting them. So they had to operate in this space of Spock and Kirk were the sort of, in Roddenberry's kind of descriptive, the two parts of the human brain where we're trying to logically make sense of it, but also be open to the sense that it might be illogical compared to the reason that we have experienced in life. So maybe you would train people to be okay with some mysterious shit by having it actually happen, but then always to a friend of a friend or as a secondary thing or something younger, so that when you get older, you're like, what do I really remember?
Like, was that real?
Yes. Or on the periphery of your belief bubble. And in that, it has value because it keeps you open to the possibility there might be something more beyond this. You don't become closed and closed-hearted and mechanical and quite frankly Darwinian in your approach to your fellow man.
Right.
Because I got to tell you, like, without Christian values and all the stuff that we kind of take for granted in our normal functioning society, it gets dog eat dog real fucking quick. One of the things that the Chinese government's removal of religion strategically from everything, it did not become a classless utopia in that regard. It became a very dog eat dog. There is no reason. It's just about calories. If I don't get those calories, somebody else will. There's no reason for charity. There's no material, moral reason for charity. There just isn't.
I don't know. I mean, I would think that some people are, I think, because we're so attracted to the divine, so to speak, that we're, you don't need to be, I mean, I don't believe in Christ, so to speak, but, you want to help people. You want to help other creatures.
Well, that's because you were brought up, whether you are aware of it or not, in largely a Christian background noise kind of country.
Yeah, but I mean, I was always, I always cared about animals and other, you know what I mean? Like, I always felt that, like, when I was little, I brought the ants in the house. My mother was like, "Oh my God," because they were going to get rained on, So
and young Germans, young Stalinist Russians, and young Chinese people, I'm sure, were very much the same way. But then over time, because of the lack of support for that belief system and a contrary belief system being like shoved onto them, eventually everybody comes to the point where, like, if I don't get mine, somebody else will. And that's, again, we have a lot of background noise in this country we take for granted, and we allow it to be hijacked and stuff. And that's why it's important to go, these values are mine. I'm not going to jettison them just because someone gave them the wrong name or some maggot is taking credit.
No, I mean, I do wish that they were as Christian as they claim to be. This country's so, that's what's part of the gaslighting, J.D. Vance saying, "Oh, I wish my wife would have this moving of the spirit," or whatever the fuck. And then, you saw him the other day, he's going on. Yeah, just talking about, but not just that, but lying about the murder of Renee Good. And he knows he's lying. So he's got to know. They all know they're lying, about that.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that they know they're lying, and I think in a lot of cases,
I assume. He's not an idiot. He's not like some people. You know what I mean? Like, I was looking at the conservative Reddit page, and they are believing, because we have our separate silos of information, and they're like, she's radical, she's a loony lefty. She did this. She deserved it. That kind of shit. So, but they might not have even seen the video, or even if they did, they are believing. But so I can't imagine. I think J.D. Vance is just a low, cunning fucker who, they all, like, even, what's his name? Secretary of State, little Marco. Yeah. They're all these transactional.
I agree. What I'm saying is, I don't think they care enough to lie. I think they got enough information to go with what they want to sell, and they don't care whether it's a lie or not. They're selling something before it happens. And so it's kind of like sales is kind of a lie all the time.
True.
They're selling this MAGA, Make America Great Again shit, and no matter what input, it will always go through this fuzzy pumper barbershop of horseshit and come out, we're right. You know what I mean? And so the details, I don't even give them credit for lying. I don't think they pay attention to the details. I think they see something and it's like, how do we spin this for us? Go. And to them, like, it's amazing to hear them talk about it, and then like, okay, now do Ashley Babbitt. Real quick. Do Ashley Babbitt.
Who, me?
Have them. No, I mean them.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I know.
They're talking about her. She's a nut, and she was doing this, and she had to move, and she moved and stuff, and there was not and she wasn't doing any, she was, she tried to run the guy down and all that kind of stuff.
Right,
now do Ashley Babbitt.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you're so there. You're so there. Right. Now do Ashley Babbitt. Like, I want to see them do that.
So true, right? They can't.
Because they don't care. They don't care enough to lie. I understand that bullshitting is a form of lying, but it's much broader. because it's a total disdain for the need for the truth. That's why,
that's what it is.
Giuliani was, truth isn't truth and all that kind of stuff. And if you've ever seen a full-grown fucking toddler in a simulation, it's Rudy Giuliani.
Oh my God, yeah. It's horrible. He's the worst. But I mean, like even what you're saying, it's kind of reminds me of, there was a meeting, one of these conferences, in the House with Ayanna Pressley was saying, do you agree with the pardoning of George Santos? Like she was bringing up all of the fraudsters that Trump pardoned, and because they were going on about, Tim Walz, how it's all the fraud. He's, the king of fraud. And they would not even entertain the question. They were like, I'm not playing this game. It's like immediately shut down. And this is how they have been trained. They've all been trained to just reject the evidence of their own. I mean, if we all hate fraud, but it's not consistent. Mm-hmm. This is what I mean. Right. Truth is.
First of all, the idea that they hate fraud is just fucking ridiculous because
no, they without fraud, who would they be? Right.
Is singularly that is it. I mean, it's one of his defining characteristics. Yes. It's not what he was tried for.
Amen.
Jesus Christ! I mean,
he's the most prolific con man. Yeah. Totally.
Look at the fucking oil talk about Venezuela.
Oh,
it's insane. And it's so on the nose. It's so childishly obvious. It was bad enough when he was, and again, this goes to the whole we didn't vote for this, or I couldn't vote for Harris because I was worried about blah blah blah. And you're
her laugh. She had. I hated her cackle. Like, shut your fucking mouth now. Yeah. What
was her cackle like? Sounded really, I don't know, female and brown.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. You can't. I mean, I'm fucking.
I call bullshit. So, but in this particular instance, he was saying as much about Iraq. So why the fuck would you think he's not going to do the same thing with Venezuela? Now, there is some talk that he and Putin talked, or Witkoff talked to Putin, and Putin was like, you can have Venezuela, and we'll make a show of it and pretend we don't like it, but then you give us Ukraine. The problem is, he can't give them Ukraine anymore, because Ukraine can fight for 2 more years with just the shit they've got and kick Russia's ass. Russia's not winning this war.
They're not, the Ukrainian people are, they are settled. They're not going gently into the night. No. Like, he's going to have to it's going to be like England, going to fight them on the beaches and to the last man or woman. That's
exactly. And and when that, and as that happens, it like the idea that even the areas they take, it's going to be partisan warfare. Well, it's a war stop tomorrow, and they had this dividing line like Trump is talking about. Partisan warfare in the west or in the eastern part of Ukraine would be off the charts for the next decade, and they know it. And so and Ukraine wouldn't even have to fund it. Like, the Turks would drive most of that shit because they want Crimea back, because they were driven off by the Soviets before they were the Soviets, the actual Russians before the USSR. So this is okay. The other thing too is, again, this is conflict soup we're all in. Mm-hmm. And so the question is, what are you supposed to take away from it? Well, you're supposed to be able to, I think, maintain your steady nature, be able to parse what you can control, what you can't control, stoically create a circle around yourself and go, anything that's inside my circle of control, I am responsible for. Morally, emotionally, everything. This is my life. And anything inside my control at all, I have a responsibility to be the best version of myself inside that circle. Anything outside that circle that I cannot control, I cannot let it pull me off axis and make me less of a person in dealing with all the stuff that's inside that circle. That's the rule. That's Stoicism 101. And for me, as a Stoic optimist, because that's my sort of defining.
I love that.
Stoic optimism is my sort of defining philosophy, and according to that just kind of popped up over the years of doing the show, and it's true, because I think it's your base state. One is, both of these things are our real lives, whether we like it or not. You can only control so much in your life. You only have an impact on so much. And you have a responsibility towards all that stuff to truly be engaged. Right. You also cannot control stuff outside of it. And you have a responsibility not to engage that stuff in so much as it distracts you from the stuff you can control. because it is meant to pull you off axis. It's meant to upset you. It's meant to like, you know, push you like a fucking boxing glove on a broomstick, you know, to try and see if it can knock you over while you're dealing with this stuff. But you have no recourse to the outside of it. So that's why vote, make your voice heard, but don't allow the emotion of it that they're trying to, you know, enrage and break you and upset you and make you be less or, you know, or different than who you choose to be.
That's so
don't
true.
allow that to take over, right? You should do everything within your you're capable of, including maybe run for office, including write a piece of legislation. There's so much you can do, but anything you can't do, because outside of that, you have a moral and emotional and spiritual responsibility to let that shit go.
But
and that's what Zen is in some ways.
Not but, I should say. But I should say. Not even but. No, because that's one of the things that is actually giving me hope now, is even in the response to the murder of Renee Good, people they're responding with positivity. They're signing up to be ICE watchers, knowing that their lives are on the line, and they're not backing down. You know, people, you would think if we were beaten people, that night after Renee Good was murdered in cold blood, everyone would have just hunkered down in their home and the streets would be quiet because we'd be afraid, right? But that's not what happened. And so that gives me hope, because for the American people we're not psychologically, we're not victims. We're not going to be, you know what I mean? We have an expectation. There's only so much we're going to take, you know? We have an expectation of living in a free society. Yeah.
Agreed. My only disappointment with the sort of noise that's being made and the protests that are happening is that it's happening in fucking Minnesota. It's not Minnesota's fault. It's not, you know, if the governor called these people in, I would say yes. If the mayor had said, we need ICE in here, it'd be another thing. These folks need to be in Washington. They need to be outside of Mar-fucking-Lago.
No, you're right.
They need, whether Trump is there or not, they need to be outside his properties, his golf courses.
Right.
You know, if you ever see, like, when we have like unions and they stand outside of a hotel or something like that, and they're fucking, it's because they're having a problem, you know, or if it's Starbucks or whatever, and everywhere there's a Starbucks, you have people there. The same thing needs to happen here. This ain't about Minnesota. It's not about, it's nothing special Minnesota.
No, you're
even
right.
Though
You're right.
Here.
You're right.
I've said, you know, the bullet struck her in Minnesota, but it was fired from Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
And the protests that happen need to start happening in front of his buildings.
Yeah.
If you're going to protest him, there's a fucking Trump Tower or a Trump hotel or a Trump golf course within a couple of hours, probably, of a lot of people that would be doing this, especially if you're in Minnesota. In Chicago, there's Trump's big building there. Chicago's a beautiful city. The weather sucks right now. Well, it's actually fairly nice, but it can suck a little bit and be a little bit windy. But that's a place where you stand in front of his property. That's what will actually make a difference for him. Be completely peaceful. Don't harm anybody who's coming and going from that building, because it's not about them either. It's about Donald fucking Trump. It's about burning down the value of the name. Because if you blow up shit or freak things out or yell at people who are in front of hotels in Minneapolis or whatever, they've had enough fucking trouble. Minneapolis has been through enough, and it's not their fault. This is a federal issue, and a federal order sent these people to those streets. So the answer is federal. First of all, never, ever vote for a Republican who will be in charge of any level of law enforcement ever again.
That's the truth.
Senate, president, period, end of fucking story. That's how you can actually do stuff. And if you're going to protesting in front of a Hyatt Regency or fucking on the streets of Minnesota won't do shit. Trump actually likes it. He loves the idea that there's unrest in a blue city.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not going to hurt him. It's not going to slow down traffic at his golf fucking course. It's not going to interrupt his fucking crypto.
No, you're right. It has to be no kings all the day. Yeah, outside of no kings every day outside of Mar-a-Lago and everywhere, because the name Trump has to be complete. Just like
villainy.
Yeah, that's it. It's synonymous with the new Benedict Arnold. You know, he's not. Yeah, it's synonymous with traitor, because that's what it is. And they're such losers. That's the other thing. They are losers. You know, he's not gonna. He's running Venezuela. They're running this country into the ground, as they did last time and every other time. Whenever they get power. So on corporate media, they're like I'm sure you probably saw it on MS Now or whatever. They had one guy who's like, I voted for Trump 3 times, but this isn't how we do it. You know, this isn't America and all this. But, you know, they're always checking in with the Trump voters as if that, you know, the only thing you should check in with them, I believe, is like, what the hell? You know, like, what's wrong with you? You voted for this 3 times? Sure. My God. You know?
Yeah. Okay. So I would say the value on that is like, you know, a certain amount of the electorate is cultified around this stuff. You know that they're either brainwashed or went willingly into this stuff, because there are people who are co-opted into Warren Jeffries, you know, Mormon sex cult, and then there were people who were those who were born into it, and those who joined willingly, right? And you got and the ones who joined willingly are never going to give it up, but the people who were born into it or suckered by it are going to wake up one day, and you can keep checking the thermostat to see if that has happened yet. And by and large, in the polling, it absolutely has. It's happened so much that Trump has given up on any pretense of the MAGA, no more foreign wars, no wars, all that shit. Like no more interventionism. We're not the world's police. Regime change is bad. All that. Like he's thrown it out the window. Why is that? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One is because he thinks he can, butter his bread down the line, and his family will get rich from these relationships, and he thinks he's going to get like all these corporations are eventually going to give him a slice of the wins that he thinks he's going to financially after he leaves office.
Even though he's 80. I mean, hello, buddy.
Well, that's the difference between like greed and drive. He has greed, not drive. Yeah. Drive makes you want to do stuff because of the expense of it. Greed is you want to do it so nobody else has it.
Well, he has to fill that horrible pit that will never be satisfied. That's what it. I mean, he's just sickness.
Yeah,
it really
well,
is.
He even said, "I'll never be satisfied until America is great again." But he has no way to define it except for dunking on other people, and that will never be satisfied. It's a constantly moving goal. But the essence of this, though, for us, what do we do? What do we actually do? Yeah. Because I got to tell you, one of the trappings of this has been that the Republicans have set the ground on which we fight. And that a lot of what we talk about is defined in terms that they have, they've determined. They put, here's the words we're going to use to fight this battle. Mm-hmm. This is what the battle's going to be about. And that's that. And we buy it because we care about people. And so we allow them to set that terms. And one of the biggest example is, immigrants. So immigrants, by and large, overwhelmingly, I would say, come here for a better life and for work. But because that's true, it does not negate the fact that depending on what your system is and whether you're supporting their lives or whether you're helping them or what kind of what your asylum standards are or whatever, if you loosen those things, bad actors will decide, oh, now's the time I can go and take advantage of this. And so as you open your heart up to more people, the chances of somebody fucking with you get higher as well. So you have a responsibility. The more open-hearted you are, the more you have to trust but verify. Trust Allah but tie up your camel. There is nothing wrong with verifying and being cautious when you're being that open-hearted, because you really do want the help to go to the people who need it. Okay, so more and more as COVID happened, the people who could afford to leave their countries were the people that had money. And the immigrants that came into this country over the last 4 years are not the same immigrants who came across the Mexican border looking to pick fruit or work in a fucking hotel or in a kitchen for years. They're not the same people. Anybody who can pay $10,000 for a family member for 4 people to get across the border, snuck in, and they can do it twice if they get sent out, or 3 times, 5 times. Those are not the same kind of people as people who take all their worldly belongings and walk across a fucking river. It's a different group of humans. Now, doesn't mean they're all evil or that they've changed, but that there are people who are acting on the system, and people who can afford to do that certainly aren't the kind of people who need welfare or support from the system once they arrive in a place, quite frankly. They are have enough ingenuity and enough money back home to be able to live and thrive once they do get inside. If their asylum is adjudicated, they eventually become a legal permanent resident or a citizen, whatever. So, but the Russians and the Chinese, especially post-COVID, use this as a way of like shoehorning people into the country. When Trump says they released all their criminals and violent blah, 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 he's a fucking idiot. But there was a push to get more people who would come in and go like, hey, if you get in, we'll pay you this if you fuck this up and you do this and if you do these kind of things. And then go back home. We'll pay you to fuck around. And once you get back home, you know, your lifestyle is paid for the next 5 years. Even and just all you got to do is go there, fuck around, and then get kicked out.
Right.
And if you're deported, who gives a shit? And then try again, and we'll pay you to go again.
Yeah.
We'll pay you to go again.
Absolutely.
And that system is easy to set up. And if you have actual enemies in the world, which the United States has, just like any other country has, someone will act on it. And there's nothing wrong with protecting against someone like China or Russia or Iran or whoever acting on your goodwill. Because if you don't, what ends up happening is the public turns on the goodwill part. And that's exactly what happened. By and large, people went, we're just willy-nilly letting everybody in and we don't give a shit. And people are getting murdered and you know, a girl got stabbed and this kind of stuff. That's what they're going to focus on. And then what happens? The people who deserve asylum, deserve help, deserve all that, are going to get thrown out the baby with the bathwater. The baby with cancer is going to get thrown out with the bathwater. And that's exactly what happened. You have a moral responsibility to protect the very system that represents your good-heartedness. You have to be as conniving and as smart in protecting it as the people who would want to take advantage of it, because the Republicans want it all to go away. They want welfare to go away. They want SNAP to go away. They want healthcare to be expensive because there are too many fucking people. They would rather people die of natural causes because they think it's Darwinism. And so they want the fraud. They want people to take advantage of this system. There's a benefit to them looking the other way when it's happening for as long as possible until the whole fucking thing collapses. So they can just come out and go, look, see, it was all fraud. We need to shut down everything. Nobody gets help anymore. Right? Because they don't want it to be there in the first place. So if you want...
That's one of the ways that they operate, by, you know, putting their horrible welfare, people in charge. Yeah. If they're not going to...
welfare, SNAP and stuff, you need to actually take care of it in a way that, like, you have to protect it in a way that you go, the Republicans want this gone. So I got to be really careful that there's no fraud, there's no know, double dipping, none of that shit. And it, you know, and it's real easy to let the people involved know, look, this is not personal. I'm just checking. We're crossing the T's and dotting the I's, not because of you, but because if something slips through, the more that slips through, the more fraud we don't catch, whatever. And again, this is not you. This is not personal. This is the system itself. If it stacks up over time, Republicans are going to use this as an excuse to scuttle all of it. And then you're out of luck, and your children are out of luck, and this school is out of luck, and this food bank for homeless people is out of luck. And so, and I think Democrats, by and large, got cowed by the far left of their of the party into fearing criticism, like you're not taking care of people, you're making the hurdles too high or whatever, instead of just explaining, look, there's limited funds and we have to make sure there are no double dippers. And you and I both know that if given the opportunity, Republicans would bleed this system dry like Marjorie Taylor Greene and her fucking unpaid PPP loan that she used office.
They all do. They all take advantage.
Yeah. She left office $20 million richer.
I know.
So that's why you protect the PPP loans and make sure that the only people that get them are the people that deserve them. You don't throw it around willy-nilly. You don't, because people like, there are Mike Huckabees out there. There are Marjorie Taylor Greenes. There are Donald and Don Jr. and Eric Trumps out there. And you know.
Rick Smith, right?
Yes. Oh, my God. Yes.
The number one fraudster, Medicare fraudster ever. I don't know how anybody could vote for that, but yeah, it's insane.
That's what, and so I feel like as Democrats, that is one of the lessons we can learn, you know, moving forward as far as the voters is, you know, is going. Yeah. Look, we're going to run our welfare, public schools, all these programs that we have really efficiently, and so if we're up your ass a little bit, it's because we want this program to withstand. If somebody comes around and kicks the tires and they all go flat, we're all out of luck, and you're out of luck. And so it's okay. And if you're on the up and up, you should be okay with us checking in all the time.
Well, I mean, like these Nordic countries, other countries actually, they are more restrictive to immigration than or migrants, in fact, than the United States. So I mean, because we have and because they are protecting their very generous and lucrative social safety nets that they all and they get
you
it.
Can't have it dry. There's a limited amount of resources, and you want it to only go to people who deserve it. And so you're going to check to make sure that everybody that is getting it deserves it.
I agree, though. I have no problem with that. Yep.
Well, that's the problem, is that that has been the belief system. A lot of
I know. I've heard it from friends saying, "Oh, we don't need borders or whatever," but I'm like, that's just will never work. How could you have, labor protections, or you can't, borders.
Every one of your friends. Yeah, here's the thing. Every one of your friends. Do you lock your car when you go into the store?
Right.
Do you lock your house when you leave it? Shut the fuck up, then.
Yeah.
Of course,
there should be no borders. I hear, like bullshit.
You know how we get no borders? I'll tell you exactly. We invade every country, and they fall under the rule of law of the United States.
That's the only way you're going to get. Right.
Yeah. The other thing is no borders. You think other countries? You think Canada and Mexico want Americans and American business to just decide they can move in and buy territory or take territory willy-nilly? When you say borders are not unidirectional.
Yeah.
Like, you think the border should only be porous coming in?
Yeah.
Like, and then you're trapped going out? What the fuck is that? It's a cartoon, and it's embarrassing. It's also not realistic, and it's racist too. But it's also got huge disdain for other cultures because, again, Mexico doesn't want to get rid of their fucking borders. Like, you think Venezuela wants to drop their borders right now? They barely have them. Canada, so your friend who thinks we shouldn't have any borders, do they think Canada should be the 51st state by default?
I don't know. I just have heard that from, I'm thinking of one person. I don't want to name them, but we've had these discussions because I'm like, no, that's just so ridiculous because how are you going to maintain standards without borders? Especially we got to live in the real world here. So if you want to have a upwardly mobile working class majority, you know what I mean? You need to be able to control that in your in your borders and your laws.
This is what happens. Right. This is what happens, and this is why the right made a lot of headway in the last election with a bunch of different groups of people. Is because when you talk like that when you've got total disdain for just material reality, your argument for what you really care about and what should be there that's actually attainable loses steam. It loses veracity because you'd sound like a cuckoo with total disregard for genuine life. And again,
it sounds
like
like
I said,
anarchy too. Right.
Yes.
When people say, well, that it's kind of like connected to the whole no human being is illegal when they say, and I get it, that's just that's semantics though. They're not illegal, they're undocumented, but they're that's just splitting hairs, but it's like connected to that argument where we shouldn't have borders, but you can't and then also then Republicans hear lawlessness and chaos, and even though they're the agents
and also
of chaos.
and any of those people, I'm like, if you believe that, try it out somewhere else.
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
from here. You can say that because you're from here. If you don't believe that should exist, go overstay your visa anywhere.
Yeah, just like we said in these other countries. And I know my friend.
Get a job in France and overstay your visa.
Yeah.
And go, well, it shouldn't be that way. We're like, well, you don't have the right to say that in France. It's not your fucking country.
Right.
What you mean is that you should be able to get cheap labor from other countries.
That's what it is, because that's what happens. Employers will get insecure workers. Yeah, exactly. And depressed wages and all that.
The H-1B visa part of it is about. You don't think, like, when Trump's like, we don't have smart tech workers here. We totally do. But they won't work for fucking
That's what it is. Yeah.
And you can't threaten them with deportation if they've been fired, because you as their employer, you have the right to revoke their visa at any time. So if they ask for a raise, you can just go, fuck you. There's another.
Or don't work on the weekend, or don't work 24. Like, what is Musk said? Work hardcore. He's not fucking hardcore. He's a whiny bitch that was handed a fortune, and he fucking he's a grifter, just like the rest of them. He is a con man. He's not an innovator. So he just abuses people So yeah, and hardcore.
That's the same. Yeah, the same. It's the same argument. And look, if you believe that there should be one world and all that kind of stuff, it's a great fucking Rastafarian reggae lyric.
I'm not in the one world thing.
Yeah, but it also what you're really saying is there should be buy-in from all the humans on the planet to my belief system. That's what that means.
Right.
That's what you're really saying. You're not saying there should be borders and all that kind of stuff. You're not singing a John Lennon song. What you're saying is that everyone in the world should buy into my lifestyle and my belief system, and therefore I should be able to watch them kind of just, go to and fro and they won't bother me. Laissez-faire, democracy worldwide. Well, that's not going to happen. People in the Middle East and people in Far East Asia and people in Russia and Eastern Europe especially and parts of South America and that kind of stuff. There are a bunch of those folks who believe in patriarchal, theocratic, dictatorships as the only way to work. And if you say, come on in and sit down, they will. They absolutely will.
It's so true.
And that's like, I swear to God, when people say we should have no borders, it's like they're a date rapist arguing that just because she's asleep doesn't.
That's true.
She doesn't mean she's saying no.
Right. That's so true. Right. But then it's like
it's the same.
But I mean, America's really fucked, I believe, unless we win again. Do you think? I mean, what are your feelings about? Let's say, are we going to make it to the midterms? Will there be midterms? Or
there'll be midterms. All this bullshit about him shutting it down. The question is, will Trump make it to the midterm?
Oh no, I know. Oh, Doc Adams, right?
And
he said that on your show that he
5 months.
Yeah.
Trump got up in the middle of his oil meeting today and wandered over to the window to look at the fucking hole in the ground where the East Wing ballroom's going to be.
That's all he gives a shit about. Yeah, he wants to dance in the ballroom before. I guess we can lay him out in the ballroom, I suppose. Fucker.
I swear to God, that will probably be its first official use.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised at all, although I don't think it'll be done by then.
Wow.
Quite frankly, for them to lie him in state there. But I think that's what he'll want.
True. When he dies, do you think these maggots, I'm talking about like Rubio, the ones who fucking actually hate his guts, will they continue to play this game and lick his ass even when he's dead?
No, only so much as it helps them get the maggot voters, because they know without those folks, about 8 to 12% of the Republican vote, which is about less than a third of the country, without those people, they can't get elected to shit. And they know that about half of them minimum are going to walk and never come back because it was about Trump. And once he you got to understand, it's not just that he'll be dead. It's not just that he's not running again. It's that he got in and fucking abducted Maduro and fucking said we're taking the oil and he enriched himself.
The maggots.
Epstein files, all of it. And so it's not that they're just going to be like, oh shit, there's no Trump and therefore I guess our hopes are dashed.
Right.
But they're going to be disenchanted with him before he even croaks and leaves that gaping hole will be unfilled. And there's nobody there's no fucking Tucker Candace Owens ticket.
Oh no, God.
Reinvigorate these dipshits. And there's nobody waiting in the wings that's going to show up as super MAGA, that will fit, because it's such bullshit. Who he is, everything about him is such a myth that there's nobody that can come in with an equally powerful myth that will replace it, because they have twisted their brains into a fucking pretzel to convince themselves that he's not full of shit, that he's not a pedophile, he's not Jeffrey Epstein's fucking wingman, that he's not a habitual sexual assaulter and all that kind of stuff. And they know it. They fucking know it. And every day since that fucking memo in July, it gets starker and more obvious, and millions of files and everything, all over magotdom right now on the, from Dave Smith and all these dipshits, Andrew Sullivan, all the people who helped him get elected, and who are now like, what's up with that? You know, you're like, okay, kids, you know exactly what's up with that. You knew it was coming. You lied to yourself. Admit it.
Right.
Or you have. There's two options. You're in on it, or you're fucking stupid. That's it.
Oh, you don't care,
only have
I guess, right?
Two options. That's it.
Or you pretend to care, you know?
No. They care about, making money off of it or grifting off of it. That would be still caring in some way or another. But
true.
They either, in the idea of like what you sold, admit to your people, because if you didn't care, you wouldn't have even pitched him in the first place. Right? You did care. You brought him onto your show. You helped him get elected. Right. So either you're fucking dumb or you're in on it. That's it. That's the only option.
Right. Well, I mean, the conservative Reddit page that I check in on regularly to see what the maggots are, or how they're responding to things, is they changed their avatar picture to Charlie Kirk. So that says a lot, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So Charlie Kirk, I'm sure you've been following a little bit of that shit, right?
Yep.
The Candace Owens stuff and it is like his death is the new Kennedy assassination.
It's unbelievable.
Meets the Twin Towers. Like it's all of it into we knew Pearl Harbor was going to happen. All of it. It's all of it. Like, and if you look at them fucking tweaking around the edges of and Fort Haktua, or whatever, and that, the fixation that she has about there was a meeting between the military, the FBI, Erica Kirk, and some.
Oh no! My God! Who's giving her this bitch, this Candace Owens? Like, where is she getting this info? Like, it's like some rando email she gets. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But we're going to believe that rando the anonymous tip line over the everything else. Your own
over
eyes.
The actual video and the actual trial that's actually happening. And
exactly. Exactly.
Look, here's the thing. I refuse to be invested in anything but the material.
Oh no! You froze. No. Uh-oh. No. I refuse to be invested with anything but the material, and then he froze. Frozen. No. I'm hoping he will come back. Come back, Hal. Come back. Oh, lordy. Uh-oh. Let me see. Uh-oh. Hold on. I think the show's over anyway. Hold on. What time is it? I put the music down. Oh, we have 7 minutes left. Oh boy, I'm texting him. Hal, you froze. I don't know if he can hear me, because when he said he was frozen earlier, I could hear him. You're frozen. Here we go. He's calling back. Where is it? Oh, no. Okay. All righty. All right. You're back. You froze.
I'm back.
All
right.
You froze.
Sorry.
So
that's what happens when we start talking about Candace Owens.
I know, right?
Right.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. The gremlins come after it. So, so I refuse to be, again, it's that circle of what you can control, and everything outside of it is none of your fucking business. There's an element of this where I have no emotional investment in them sorting out their shit. I do have, there is something I can contribute to by spinning some of those plates for them, because it, serves me politically and emotionally.
You should send them something and see if they fall for it. Okay, but go ahead. Yeah.
No, I'm not. Well, I won't lie and bait it or whatever, but I will, if they bring something up, I figure like, hey, what about that? Why haven't you talked about that in a little while? That's their problem, not mine. But insofar as that, their fixation on this and how deep it goes is really fascinating to me.
Yeah,
because
it's like something in the brain. They got something.
They've cultivated this paranoia, right? They've cultivated the need for this kind of paranoia, and you can't just jettison that. That doesn't just go away, right? You know what I mean? It's like, if like, it's a terrible analogy, but if Jeffrey Epstein had a daughter, there's a certain age to which she would be in trouble. Even if he was like, I only do this to the outside, he would not be able to turn off that. He would morally not really care because he's a scumbag. But it would be difficult for him to turn that off or not go, well, she could make me some money with these dudes that hang out, right?
Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm.
So I feel like once you cultivate that kind of like Alex Jones level paranoia on everything, and there's a Hillary Clinton behind every fucking bush, you can't let go of it because
that's my nightmare too. I'm only kidding.
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
In this particular case, like I'm just enjoying watching them kind of flail with this because it is a mess of their own making. They did this to themselves.
Oh God!
And they will never. And that's also a lesson we need to learn on our side of the aisle. This is as much as we are, our Achilles heel is Superman's in Superman 2. Right? Which is, I found his weakness. He actually cares about these people.
Yes. That's so true. Yeah, you're right.
We will always eventually cave on a government shutdown as Democrats.
That's right.
Because there will be a point where people are going to get hurt and we will have to stop. And the Republicans will never.
They know that. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Hey,
wait, hold on. Stop that. Hey.
Well,
my two youngest are they're playing, and then they turned into a real fight. You know, they're cats. So, yeah.
Oh, I understand. Yeah. I don't know. Hold on.
It's like kids. You start it's all fun and games, and then it turns real. Yeah.
I'm gonna leave. I open my door in case any of the cats want to wander in. We have we need to know this, that our Achilles heel, which is not, any of your positives can be turned into a negative. And that's, again, why you have to be dogged in your protection. You have to protect. If you're an open-hearted person, you got to protect your heart.
Right,
you can't shut it down because that's the balance. That's why it requires, a delicate nature and a soft touch, and you got to work at it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Same thing is true of, if we care about people, we got to watch fraud more than Republicans would. If we care about people, we have to protect the infrastructure money that goes out and make sure it's used correctly more than anybody, because if there's any reason to not have that money go out, they will jump on it and stop it, right? So, and there's nothing wrong with that, and anybody who's a team player, we can should understand that. And anybody who goes, hey, why are you asking me? You're like, okay, dude, we need to look at your books then. Don't take it personally. If you're overreacting, we're doing this because there are fraudsters out there. Not saying you're one of them, but we have to protect everybody. There. Okay, same thing. The inverse is true of Republicans. They don't give a shit about people. They don't care about the Christianity or their ethics or any of that stuff. It's all for show. It's all sales. That's why
children, families. Please.
Evangelicals are the sales group of. They're not the people who drive the car. They're the people who sell it and get it off the lot. Right? I mean, look at like used car dealers who have a brand new car every year would never buy a used car because they don't trust the fucking things. Right. That's what evangelicals are. Lutherans, Methodists, Presbyterians, by and large, those are the people who drive the car they sell, right? Or they just drive the car around town, and people go, "Hey, that's a nice car. How's it work?" And they'll tell them about it, but they don't offer it up, right? Evangelicals are selling the car because they're trying to offload it all the time.
Yeah.
The Republicans' Achilles heel is trust. They don't have any reason to trust anyone because they know they're not trustworthy themselves.
That's right.
And
they project.
And so if you want to wind them up, go, I wouldn't trust Trump for, if I was you.
Right.
If you say Trump sucks, they're like, fuck you. No, he doesn't. But you're like, why do you trust that guy? I don't trust that guy. Why would nobody trust that guy? That's the eyes. Right? Yeah. Weissman, you think he trusts him? Who used to work for Trump that isn't a family member that still trusts him? Shit, Ivanka doesn't even come around. At a certain point, that's the this in God we trust, in Trump we trust thing that they feel, that's them showing you their Achilles heel.
Yeah, you're right. Because they don't trust anything else. They don't trust the system, the Constitution, the nation of laws.
No, they don't trust the fucking Bible.
No.
So, but they have trusted Trump this long.
Yeah.
Except for when that memo came out in July. They were teetering for a while. They were on the fence, but suddenly they're like, what? Wow. What the fuck is Bangholio and Patel saying? What do you mean he killed himself? There's nothing else to look at, and there's no conspirators. And I know materially that's false. Wait a fucking second. And their trust was shaken. That's the difference. That's Drago's cut in Rocky IV. That's, that's the moment we're like, see, he's not a machine. He's a man. And that scared the fuck out of Trump. It's when he told him, like, I don't need your help anymore. He was like telling everybody who questioned.
Yeah, wow.
Because it was about trust. They put all their faith and trust in this guy, and it was misplaced, and they know it. And now they've got to defend against that fear all the time. And if you want to destabilize them, you want to get them on their heels, it's all about trust, which is the root of paranoia. Trust. There must be somebody operating behind the scenes. They're running everything, man.
I know,
That's anybody who operates like that, all you got to do is question their trust with anybody around them that they're allied with, and it evaporates.
Yes, that's what's happening here with this, with Candace Owens, and they're all turning on each other, right? Am I
right? And even when they come back, she had this sit down with Erica Kirk, 4 hours, and they were kumbaya, right? That was supposedly happening or whatever. Afterward, it got worse. It got fucking worse. So
amazing.
You listen to what people say. And understand they don't think the way you do. Again, I've said this a couple times. So the diversity is our strength, crowd. I love you and I appreciate where you're going with that. But diversity is not finding a person of color that sounds just like you.
Right.
That's not diversity. Diversity is everything, and it's really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And you've got to be, and that doesn't mean, that also means that diverse opinion that you're dealing with, or that diverse lifestyle, or that diverse experience is there. You're not just going to kick their tires; they get to kick yours.
Right.
That's diversity. That's real diversity. And so we can't be afraid of anybody kicking our tires. And if anybody says, "Don't kick my tires," that's when they're worried.
Yeah.
They don't realize what they're saying. And right now on the right, you kick the Epstein tires, they freak the fuck out.
But this is like what's that? Oh no, because what's her name? Candace Owens, when she met with Erica Kirk, she said, I'm just reading like a synopsis here. That says she found it productive, but then went back to immediately questioning the official narrative of his assassination, which is not. He's a murderer. He's not a fucking. He's not a politician. It's like, but anyway. And that just goes, that is so maggot in general, where you could have these conversations with them. You could sit down and have a productive talk, and they'll just go right back to whatever the fuck they already thought.
And okay, I will say, I don't mind with it, them calling it an assassination, because I think George Tiller was assassinated. I think anything of political murder,
I guess so.
targeted for political reasons, call it an assassination, even if the person isn't important. If somebody just kills a member of a community or a rabbi or a priest or something, they're assassinated, we don't really use murdered, but that's kind of what we're talking about here. And in their case, that's how they look at it. And I don't mind.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I would say every time they say he was a Christian and a father and blah, 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 my reaction is not, fuck him, no, he wasn't. It would be like, well, then why don't you guys live up to that on his behalf?
Yeah.
Why are you guys undercutting apparently what you say he was teaching? It's so much more effective to do that.
Yeah.
Because this is the difference between like shame and embarrassment. Again, I've said before, these people cannot be shamed because they don't have the same empathy you have, and they don't have the same reflex. They don't feel like they should be shamed, but they can be embarrassed. And if you want them to be outraged on your behalf and you use outrage, what you don't understand is that these fuckers are outrage farmers. They're trying to get you outraged. They don't care why it happens. And they don't care whether you're right or wrong in your outrage. They just want that emotion. That's why Trump is the first troll president. All they need is you flipping out, even if you're right. I mean, these assholes are like, everybody hates me. I must have struck a chord. And like, so Ted Bundy struck a chord?
I know,
so
right?
So Hitler struck a chord? Is that why everybody hated him? No, I think it was the whole genocide or the murder of the bodies under the house, you dumbass. So here's the thing. Understand that the right does not process emotion and empathy and all those things the way you do. And if you try to manipulate them the way you can be manipulated, it won't work. It never works.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right.
And like, if you're outraged, they've won. So calm freaks them the fuck out.
Yeah. Well, that's why I always think that and as normal people, Democrats or liberals and whatnot, that we have, that there is a way to talk to them. There is a way. You have to that's why Democrats have a duty, I think, to take back patriotism, to frame these issues as not, I always say we don't leave anyone behind. As I served in the National Guard, and we used to drill on leaving no one behind. We would have drills, somebody would be the incapacitated person and we would have to go get them. And, we don't leave people behind no matter what. So and when I was I liked it when I was the one who was, because they all got to carry you out, you had to play, it was fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, and, but, we don't leave people behind on the battlefield of the battle, or we don't leave them behind on the battlefield of education, of sickness, of whatever it might be. That's how it has to be framed, I think, because we're the ones fighting for, leaving no one behind, including the maggots, which is, while they're drinking our tears, I'm not trying to drink their tears. I'm trying to get them health care and living wages and retirement security and all that. So because people feel like once they have those things, they can stop vilifying other people for the reasons they don't have those things, and start arguing, based on genuine philosophical points and not a grudge match that they have. That's what's so exhausting. Yeah.
So if people want tools for the next election cycle, let me tell you, the name of the game with Republicans is going to be trust, because they put their trust in Donald Trump and it was a farce.
Right.
And they know it, and they are afraid you know it. And I have no problem with having trusted in Joe Biden, trusted in Obama, trusted in Harris, trusted in Hillary Clinton at this point. Yeah. Because I know they would have done, as a human being, the best they could do in that situation to the highest level they could possibly get there. And I have no illusions of sort of utopian, if I don't get everything, nobody gets anything, like the TYT crowd. Mm-hmm. So I'm a realist in regards. And I also know that you have to have buy-in from the rest of the country. You do, because we're a representative democracy. Even the people who are like, I know people get frustrated with this whole like reaching across the aisle or speaking to Republicans like they're real people or whatever, right-leaning independents or whatever. And I know it gets very frustrating, but you can't have a democracy without buy-in from the other side of the argument, no matter what that argument is. And it should be viewed as an opportunity to be a better evangelical for your beliefs, for healthcare, for a living wage, for those kind of things. And if you're not convincing those people, it's easy to write them off as they're the villain and I'm the good guy, and they don't want this because they're awful, and I want it because I'm good. Because I got news for you, that's exactly what they think half the time. And I'm not talking about the bullshit.
No, totally.
I'm talking about the voters. So it's key.
That's what they think. Liberals are evil. That's why this went on over years. That's why they wouldn't even negotiate, because even negotiating, it became like tantamount to complete betrayal. How could you negotiate with Democrats? It's because they're so fucking evil. And it's just
they have
disgusting.
They have to get shit done. And the discharge petitions that have gotten signed, it wasn't about buy-in from Democrats who won't do anything, aren't fighting for whatever. All of them signed the discharge petitions, both on Epstein, both on and on the healthcare, all that kind of stuff. Where we're going to have another vote coming up that's going to be forced through. The Senate will be the big test in this. But in that case,
with the Obamacare, you mean, with the subsidies?
Yes, right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and we've got fewer votes in the Senate, not because maggots are evil or because Donald Trump's a dickhead, but because our voters didn't show up.
That's
and
right.
By not showing up, that is a vote for not having the subsidies.
Absolutely.
If that's how this turns out.
I know.
So if you want to blame anybody for being weak-kneed and not fighting and all that blah, 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 it's the people who didn't vote or voted against Harris last.
Well, the 6 million that stayed home. The 6 million Democrats who voted for Biden didn't show up on election day.
Yes, in the immortal words of Rush of Geddy Lee, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice.
That's right. And they, yes. No, who's that? Who's that over there?
My girl. She's
just join us.
No, I'm not being loud.
You're always loud.
I know, I'm always loud. Thank you. Here, come and say hi to Tara Devlin.
Hi, hello. See? Nice to meet you virtually.
Yeah. Nice to meet you virtually.
Oh,
yeah. I'll be done in a few minutes, but we're having a great conversation. Look, here he is. So and she brings the cat.
And the cat? Oh, let's see.
This is Bucky.
Oh, Bucky.
He's hard to see. He's black.
Yeah, he's black. Like my little Ray. He's black too, all black. I'm always stepping on him. When he was a kitten, I had to put him in like a safety vest because I was always sitting on him or kicking him. Poor little guy. Yes, I'll send you pictures. I'll dig him up. They're very cute. Yeah. His little safety reflector vest. Yeah, they're so sweet.
Oh my God, he's so sweet. He's just lovely. Like he's eventually going to be a cuddler, but right now he's kind of like he'll sit on the edge of the bed and almost watch for us. It's almost like he's standing guard. It's really sweet. But then he lays in my lap on his back and belly up like that.
Oh no, that's so cute.
And and so he'll just hang. He just panthers too. He'll hang on your arm.
He's so good.
Yeah, he's great.
That's my black cat. He literally hugs me. So they're very. I don't know if I've always heard. I know it's kind of weird to say black cats are very affectionate. Every black cat I've ever. Because why would that matter? I guess the breeding. Of the cat of.
Exactly how it matters. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know how cats were literally domesticated the same way dogs were, which is they were bred for agreeableness. So what they would do is if there was an animal, with dogs, what you would do is if there were a bunch of wolves or canines around the thing, what you would do is you would feed them.
Right, yeah.
And then any of them that come up and snatch or whatever, you'd kill them. And then any of them that took the food nicely or learned to do it, then you would feed them, you'd bring them into the home or whatever. They would have puppies with the other agreeable animal, and they would literally be genetically agreeable.
Right.
That's how animals are, right? Their nature is passed on.
Yeah, well, that's how they learn to live with humans. Yeah.
And cats did it almost without our permission. They just started wandering in, and if they recognized if they didn't attack you, you would feed them of our nature or whatever,
true.
And then
Well, cats are not as domesticated as dogs are, as far along, and but that's why but they are saying that they are becoming more domesticated. That in fact they're living more because they're living in groups more. That's becoming a thing that they're now because they're not like that normally in when as far as their evolution, but now they're more of a communal species because of us. That's
because of crazy cat ladies.
Yes, and I'm sure because cats don't they meow to us. That they keep their vocal to talk to us. Yeah, isn't that? Yeah. I find that interesting. Yeah.
Oh, especially Murphy, our gray cat.
Yeah, and that's how because I do animal rescue, I do TNR and stuff, and
we do too.
Yeah, what's that? Say that again. You do that?
We do too.
You do that too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. And no, because how we know if a cat's been abandoned or whatever is that if they're vocal, if all of a sudden you think a feral cat is here. And they start meowing, you're like, no, that's not a feral cat, because feral cats don't meow to people.
That's right. They will caterwaul sometimes. They will go, oh, but that's not meowing.
Right.
That's a different...
Yeah, you could tell. Like if you trap a cat and all of a sudden they're like, meow, 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 like, this one has hope. Yeah, this one.
If they just curl up and just start going, then you're like, uh-oh.
Right,
all right, gotta get the gloves.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know you did TNR. Jesus. Wow. Me too.
Yeah. We got two of these are foster fails.
Oh,
so
yeah, me too.
And Molly, our little white cat with her stub tail is we had to TNR her at our old house because she disappeared, and then she came back, and the lady who bought the house was like, that little white cat is back and his tail is broken.
Oh,
and
no.
And she, she's covered in dirt or whatever. So we trapped her. They had to amputate half her tail, and she was covered in ticks. There are no ticks in Vegas. We don't wear that thing.
Wow.
And now she's very lovely. She's very skittish, but she comes up onto the bed for pets every night because I give the best pets.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's great.
Yeah. We're both crazy cat ladies.
I know, right?
Back to my point where I was so lovingly interrupted by my gal, but the tools, like you and I don't have. I mean, there's some people that have trust issues. I think the TYT crowd are very paranoid.
Oh God,
there's some lefties like that. I think and I go with this with the Antifa allied people. Were like, we're all Antifa because we were all Antifa during the war. Okay, no, being anti-fascist is not the same as being Antifa any more than being a nationalist and a socialist makes you a national socialist. So what's wrong with that? Like, there's a moniker and a short name for it. It's like the difference between using the hashtag Black Lives Matter and being a member of the organization that stole people's money. Black Lives Matter, right? There's a difference.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, right. And you can be anti-fascist and even use the moniker Antifa, and I get it, and I know where you're leaning, but it is different from the anarchists that use the flag because they're not really anti-fascist. They're anarchists.
Right.
That's where they lean.
Yes,
they don't vote Democratic. That's the other thing. And we've been in defending the anarchists because they're using the name Antifa as if, who don't vote for us ever, who think Democrats are as much the problem as Republicans and do this kind of both sides horse shit and are not committed to democracy at all. They just show up as, they're an opportunistic infection, unfortunately, but they're the one we've been saddled with. Maggots have the same problem. They've got the prepper crowd. It's the same motherfuckers. Right. These people, preppers view themselves as Christians, right? They view themselves as, as true believer Christians, homesteaders and all kinds of shit. But in reality, they can't wait for the world to burn down because they think they're going to be standing on top of the axe and bring them closer to heaven. It's nuts. And so that everybody's got their, we live in an era where the crust thinks it's the pizza. And that's what the Antifa, the people with the flags and the people wearing black bloc and all that kind of shit. They're frauds. They're full of shit. Yes. They don't believe in democracy. They want to subvert and circumvent it, I think is a better term, get around democracy by enacting these kind of things. In the same way that preppers, and these fucking, they're like sovereign citizens. It's the same stuff. By and large, the belief system of the Black Bloc Antifa crowd and sovereign citizens is almost identical, except when it comes to, communism versus Old West economics. But ultimately, they think either somebody else is going to solve my problem or everybody's got to solve their own fucking problem without any help from me. Right. But it's the same kind of selfishness. It's just a different delivery system.
Right. That's so funny. Yeah. Now, and it reminds me of the libertarians too. That's another one that's so exhausting, really.
Well, it's not. There is no such thing as libertarianism. It's not an actual.
It's like a waste of time, when people say, I'm a libertarian, and it's like, oh, fuck, I'm bored. Oh, please. Right. It's like a delusion. You might as well, debate whether King Joffrey deserves the Iron Throne. It's another constructed bullshit reality. I mean, that. And Game of Thrones is at least entertaining, but
Right. So. Well, I would say it's more like people who argue over the time, like, could Hulk beat up Superman because every time Superman punches the Hulk, he gets more angry and therefore stronger, and eventually it would run out of whatever. You understand? It can be a fun debate. But it's a waste of time. It's not going to result in change that factors into anything, right? And that's what libertarianism is. Well, that's what Black Bloc Antifa, what that crowd is. And again, this is not to say that anybody who thinks they're anti-fascist, which you should be, everybody should be, that using the moniker, the slang of a group, it means that, because quite frankly, the black blockers are a form of fascism. They just think they're on the right, so they should be able to impose it. Like, that gets into the old Reagan, one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. Like that's what they're relying on. And they're no different than the sovereign citizen crowd or preppers or any of that overlap on the road.
I used to know a guy who he would say, I'm a liberal fascist, and it means that I believe that people who think that people should be on should be like locked away in a camp. I think those people should be locked away in a camp. That's what he would say.
Yes.
Like, I don't go that far, but that's what we're talking about, really. So,
yes. Yeah, here's the thing. I don't think anyone should be locked away in a camp.
No,
no. For obvious reasons. But I do believe that if you have committed a crime, you should go to jail.
Right.
And I don't care. And it should be apolitical. As Lenny Bruce used to say, the rules is rule no matter who is involved. We sleep in area B, we have our lunch in area B. Sleep in area A, we have our lunch in area B. We throw our garbage in area C. Savvy. Guy goes to sleep, gets a face full of garbage. What the hell? He goes, you're the policeman. Now, you know the rule. I got to get some sleep. So while I'm sleeping, you make sure that nobody throws garbage in my face while I'm eating or trying to sleep. Right? I do it, but I'm too nice a guy. Right? And so you get a cop out there with a stick in his hand and his short sleeve shirt or whatever, holding a shield, and everybody's yelling fascist at him. And he's like, fascist? I'm the fucking mailman. And that's the reality. And this is where I want to remind everybody that the shot fired in Minneapolis was, the trigger was pulled in Mar-a-Lago. The decision lies with the person in charge and the people who put that person in charge. And you can either cop to it or not, but it's the reality. Right. And so, do we want to ever let Republicans be in charge of anything ever again that maybe has an impact on people's lives because they cannot be trusted? So, and that means, by the way, electing, conservative Democrats in areas where they're not gonna. There's no way you get an AOC in West Virginia. Not happening.
Right.
And if you replace AOC with somebody who's AOC plus, who gives a shit? The vote won't change. Not an iota. Not a thing. And so that's why I keep saying red district's purple, purple district's blue. One job. And you can argue the social aspects of it and the personal interpersonal stuff all you want. Pronouns in conversation and all that stuff. What we want is equal rights for people.
Right. I mean, all that other stuff is, the pronoun bullshit. Like, hey, I'll call whatever people the pronoun they want, but I don't think that's our, I think it's not really the priority.
It's also illegal. It violates freedom of speech, and if you want to start violating freedom of speech, you have to understand that's what fascists want, and you're just going to have to deal with it. My thing is that anybody who would tell a trans person that somebody who doesn't honor their pronouns has dehumanized them is the villain in the circumstance, because nobody has the ability to dehumanize you. What that person should be saying is they don't need to recognize your pronouns at all. They know your name. They know who you are. That's what matters.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
I don't care if they get it right or get it wrong, whether they're doing it on purpose or on accident. You are a human being, and that never will change. No matter how much that person tries to fuck with you or how much disdain or ignorance they have. Ignorance of another person does not define who you are as a human being, nor does their disdain for your existence. That's not what defines you. And if somebody tells you it does, they're your enemy more than the person who actively hates you. That's the whole Malcolm X warning about white liberals. That's what that was about. It was like the person who pretends to be on your side who's going, I think I'm offended on your behalf.
Right.
So but again, that's us arguing with ourselves. Mm-hmm. If you want to really affect maggots, if you really want to have an impact on what they're doing, there's only two real weapons you have. One is never get offended. Never. Don't give them the joy of outrage. Laugh off everything they try and vote against everything they do. Do everything materially, but do not give them emotionally what they want out of it. ever.
Right.
The other thing is that recognize they have trust issues, and it is your responsibility everywhere to flick that trust issue every time you see it.
I love it.
You know,
that's
those are your two biggest tools.
That's what we have to do.
And I know you want it to be otherwise. I know you want them to be morally outraged the same way. I know you want them to recognize the shame in what they are doing.
I want them to. But I do want them to see the error of their ways. But I hear you. Yeah.
We don't need them to see the light. We just need them to see the lie. As soon as they see that Trump has been bullshitting them, they're not going to vote for us, but they're going to go the fuck home.
Right. Yeah, they're going to be demoralized and they're going to just not show up, that's fine with me.
I agree. And they're not going to be demoralized by us. They're going to be demoralized because they've woken up to the fact that they have been a sucker this long and they don't have the strength and the courage to admit it and stand up.
Wow. So, okay.
Yeah.
You're saying there's hope. Right?
Of course I am.
Yeah, I know. I'm only kidding. I know.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
I get a little like. Yeah.
Yeah. They're very dumb and dumber.
1 in a million. Yeah.
What's all that 1 in a million talk? Right.
This is great. Thank you. This has been such an amazing conversation, I think.
Yeah. I agree. I had a great time. Chat room, did you guys have a great time? Let us know. Hit the like, share
the like, God damn it.
Do it.
That was amazing. I mean, we have a pretty good chat room going, and in multiple locations. So
see, that's the great thing about Ecamm, isn't it? And out to multiple things. Yeah. Wonderful. So there they are. I see them popping in. Bless you guys, and thank you guys for tuning into Tara's show on the regular as well.
Yeah, thank you for the raid. And
you still have your
Well, I have my Tuesday show.
That's what I do.
Yeah, you're very good at it. I wish I was better. I'm learning. You're helping me. So, and anything I can do. No, you do a lot. Jeez, and I tell everybody too. Like, you're the real deal. You're not just playing it on your show. You're for real and helping people people little people like me in my little show and all. And it's great. And I have a show on Tuesdays. So hopefully there'll be more shows coming. More. Mm-hmm. Just one little show at a time. So I do Friday. I don't know how you do all the shows that you do. And in fact, I was talking to Andre. I'm like, sometimes I need to take a break. I just need to shut my mind off and look at something has no Republicans in it, or I don't want to think about it. And it seems like you get more energy, the more shows you do. And sometimes I'm just like, I gotta tune out, So.
Oh, well, I'll tell you a little secret. Okay, so it used to drive people crazy that between shows, when I would do stand up, 2 shows a night, I could nap between shows. I could literally go into the green room and lay down on the couch and just shut my eyes for like a half hour, between the turnover of the room and the act. And I'm like, whatever. And then they're like, you can nap when you got a show, and I'm like, yeah, because I'm comfortable on stage. I just love it. So I can rest and know that I want to be, I need to recharge my battery a little bit. But also, one of the tricks I used to have when I'd be in a town and I'd be, prepping for a show or whatever, I'd do radio in the morning, and then I'd grab some food or whatever, and then have the show later. While I was driving around, I would listen to local religious programming, like AM radio preachers, because they would irritate the shit out of me. And being mildly irritated was a good place to be for stand-up.
Yeah.
Not enraged, but largely like, what the? Get the hold on a second. If I could be in that space, it was a good energy for stand-up.
That's good.
Yeah,
good.
2 shows a night anymore, baby. I won't do it.
That's great.
But that's one of my tricks. It still works. Like if I've got a show at night and I'm like, kind of, feeling a little easier and not, because I don't get nervous before shows ever.
Right.
So, and I will say, like, the Ultimate Jam night, which is on the 20th, coming up, the NAMM Jam we're doing. I've got like 5 songs to sing that night. I probably, and I know them all, so I'm not going to be nervous doing that. But sometimes doing the jam because it's a lot, or I've got high notes to hit or something like that, I'll be a little bit like, oh, sure, hope my voice is in good shape, or like Nerd Halen when we're like, we did a couple of like corporate wedding-y kind of things where I've got to do like,
really?
dreams and when it's love.
Oh my God.
And that, how do you know that it's love? That like really high notes. I'm like, I can do them. And I'm doing them easier now than ever before because I figured it out how it works. But I know it's going to be work, and I've got to pick my battles. So I don't get nervous. I get kind of like, oh, here it comes. Okay. Like you'll get a little tingly about it. But when it comes to stand-up, I'm so easy about it these days because I've been doing it so long, and I'm very comfortable with the kind of quality of show I can deliver that I just don't get nervous at all. So I got to get something to. Sometimes, occasionally, I'll need a little goose to get my energy up, so I don't take it for granted.
That's
and sometimes when there are gaps in the universe that need spackling shut, if I hear something irritating that needs to, really helps. And the one place I can always find it is in like AM radio preachers.
Oh, definitely. That's great. Yeah. Wow. When's your next show? Were you just talking about it? Or you have a show coming up?
Well, I haven't booked my, I think it's going to be on the 24th at Flappers, but I haven't booked it yet because of stuff that's going on, family stuff. Mm-hmm. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
So until we get over this next hump that's happening, I don't want to have a flight day or go someplace and do something. So, I'm working that out at any given time. So, but I think it's the 24th is the next one at Flappers. And then it's the last Friday of every month there. And then what I'm going to try and do is add a mid-month one either here in Vegas or somewhere else in California. So San Francisco or someplace like that. So I can start spreading it out,
Right.
I would love to do a Sunday night show at Cobb's once a month, for example.
Where's Cobb's? Is that in Vegas?
San Francisco. It's in San Francisco.
Oh, San Francisco. I've done stand-up at Flappers myself, but yeah, a long time ago. I used to be a stand-up primarily, but I think I mean, I used to do pretty good, and you know what happened? No, I know that's the spirit. I was actually, this is why I wish I met you years ago, because I held myself back, and that's why I like doing the podcast, because I'm in the house. I have no excuse and all that, and I love it. I love the community. And because I was doing really well at stand-up, I opened for Jessica Kirson. I opened for Judy Gold at Gotham. Performed at Pete in P-Town with Jessica Kirson and all that. And because I always had like a full-time job, and I was like afraid to quit it and just go for it. Because I'm by myself. I didn't have a spouse. So I was like, well, how am I going to pay my bills? And so I think it was fear. You know what I mean? So, and I think about it. Of course, I know it was fear that I needed to just fuck it and take the leap. But I know, like, Jessica Kirson's a friend of mine, and she was out there every night. And I know you know her, right? She's just amazing. She's like a comedian's comedian, and she brings the house down all the time. But she was out there every single night, like doing, just going on the road and all that. And I just never did that, I don't know. I was holding myself back, really. So whatever. I mean, I don't have regrets, but that's why I do my podcast. I enjoy the podcast, I think, more in a way. But even though because people would say, what's the best part of stand-up? And I would say, when it's done, like I really enjoyed, being up there on stage and doing and having a great set. And I have to say, I never bombed. You can ask anybody. And I had, good experience. And then when it was over, but because I would like hype myself up, I would get nervous before, and like overthink it and get in my head and stuff. So, So,
well, I mean, that's part of That's part of the reality of it. So I don't think you can skip that. So I never expected I could.
Yeah.
So therefore, like I used to, shitty auditions and bad shows or whatever, bad gigs. Like, I mean, I used to, LA doesn't really have much of an open mic scene. So if you're trying to get, regular gigs and work out, it's not like being in New York. It's not like being even in Chicago, where there's almost a place to go every single night. So if you wanted to go to a place, like I would have to drive, an hour to fucking, Santa Barbara or something to do a fucking bar just so I could do 5 minutes and then drive back down. And so the next night I could do another 5 minutes at, in Simi Valley and do another one in fucking,
yeah, that's what Jessica would do every single night, every fucking night. Yeah. And she's now she's really hit it. Like she had her own Hulu special and she's done great on TikTok, has a giant following. But it took a long time, and it's not, overnight success, like, takes over a decade or more, as the saying goes. It was more than a decade. I mean, I would think, if she was like a little cute blonde, she was probably have her own TV show, at one point, but she was like outside of the type, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
I don't know. I gotta say, there's a lot has been said about how like pretty people rule Hollywood, but the reality is, like on every show that you think of, there's 2 pretty people and a shit ton of normies like me. So, right. So the idea that it's all Brad Pitt and Pam Anderson or something is sort of ridiculous because it isn't. Look at television; it's all it's built around accessible human beings.
Well, even more now, though, I think. But now I think because there's such. I think we're really living in a golden age of television now. Yeah, really.
Well, unlike back in the day when everybody was hot on shows like Married with Children and All in the Family and
all in the Family. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. On that note, exactly. You are wonderful. You're fucking wonderful. You're like my therapist, so I like that. I like that. Thank you. And you're a great person. I mean, anybody who does TNR and rescues cats, that says everything. It does. It really does. It does. You're not turning your back on these people or the souls that are often forgotten, I feel.
That's right.
So it matters. And it will. And you're, making a difference. That's for sure. So that matters. Thank you so much. Thank you. Really.
Right. Thanks for having me.
Really, thank you for coming over. It's my little Tarabuster show, and always just being great. And yeah.
We'll do it again sometime.
Yes, we will. We will.
Do I hang up myself, or do you let me go?
Yeah, you can hang up. I can hang you up. All righty.
I just want to let you go on your own. All
right.
Standards. Yeah, right. Because go. So drive it how you would like. Bye. See you later. Bye.
Oh my God, that was amazing. How are you? How's everybody doing? I feel like I need a cigarette. No, I don't smoke. Wow. I mean, that is a lot to chew on and a lot to digest. So, and thank you everybody for hanging out tonight. Wow. It took a minute to. We had a troll incident earlier with the Twitch page. What the fuck is wrong with this with maggots? But okay, we know they're not okay. And I want to thank you guys in the chat. Thank you for your super chats and your memberships and all, and all the sparklers. Wow, thank you. Wait, where is the super? I'm losing control of my computer here. Josh, thank you for your super chat many hours ago. I appreciate that. So what happens? Oh, I wish I had seen your question. So what happens when the real you? Wait, what happens when the real life you dies? I don't know. And thank you, Susie, who's also a moderator, for your membership. 3 months. Wow, already 3 months as a Booty Boo member. Thank you, Surrender Monkey, for your super chat. Don't make me go home when Hal goes. You can hang with the gang for 5 minutes longer, right? Yes, I can. I will hang. Because I love you. where the fuck am I going? This is my apartment. Let's see. Thank you, Pam, for your super chat. Excellent choice in guests, Tara. Great show. Thank you. No, hey, Hal was the one who, when I was on Hal's show last week or so, he's like, I'll come on your show too. And I was like, what? You know, to me, I'm like, why the fuck does he want to come on my show, you know? So, I don't know. I gotta get better at that. And we will get better at that. Oh shit, the YouTube channel just shut down. I have to refresh. This happens sometimes. YouTube just craps out for a second. I hope it does. The whole thing didn't crap out. Okay, I think I'm back. But now there we go. I thought I lost the viewer activity. That's where the super chats live. And thank you, JD Christie, for your booty boo. How about you? 3-month membership. Thank you again, JD, for your cat treat super chat. And then JD again. Oh my God. I almost forgot about Spooky super chat. Spooky the guinea pig. Wow. And right after this, Spooky's going to get a little bit of pepper. That's one of his favorite treats. And thank you, what's that? My eyes are shut. I think I had a trouble with this name another time. Primit Velcon. Primit, P-R-I-M-I, Primit Velcon. Pretty Velcon, thank you. High five, girlfriend. Good show. He definitely relaxed you. Relaxed me? You think I need to be relaxed? Let me see. Let me show you some Spooky. Do you want to see a picture of Spooky? Let me see. Who wants to see Spooky eating a banana? Okay. Look. That's Spooky. He had his favorite treat, a banana. I get a little bit of a banana once a week for him. Can't have it every day, too much sugar, you know. But look at that face. Look at that little chubby little face. Who could have thrown him out? Somebody threw him away. Right. All right. Gary says he prefers the angry Tara. Oh, what the fuck happened to the light? So, yeah. I don't know. You get what you get sometimes, right? I'm not always angry. Am I angry all the time? I had a lot of anger issues. I had a lot of therapy. So it's gotten a lot better. I could tell you many stories about myself being an angry bitch. Or I once flipped a table in a pizzeria because somebody didn't give me change for $1 to use the phone when we used to have payphones. So I had a little bit of anger problems. Yes, Hal does make you think, well, he makes you feel better about things. And I do need that, you know, I need to be reminded of that there is hope. And I think, I don't know. That's why I stay around people who are happy. I try to. You know, I don't like people that are like, oh, yeah, life sucks, man. I don't say that. I don't believe that. But I do think, you know, but there's no but after that. Life does not suck. It's just challenging at times, and it's only temporary. That's another thing, I think. You know, not that, I mean, life is only temporary. Yes, that's true, but I'm not trying to be morose. And here comes Tara Jr. again. All right, come in. All right, listen. All right, we're going to close the show now. All right, honeys? He He needs a vet visit. It's his, checkup time. They all have to go to the vet. But I got to do it one at a time. Or two, in the very least. All right, Crankadoodle. He's a cranky old man. And I got to give him his medication. He's got skin allergies. So I have to give him some of his medication. And he needs his gabapentin. All right, Mommy. Hold on. Sit down. Go down. Just, come on, kid. Oh, he's very vocal. He's like, he thinks he's my partner. He really does. He thinks it's like me and him, and we're raising, Francis, Ray, and Boudica. All right, everybody, calm down. I don't know if you can hear them hissing. Listen, guys. All right, that's it. We're going to have a show. Next show is on Tuesday on the Political Voices Network. And then it will be, uploaded to the SoundCloud on iTunes. If you can I can't talk. If you can give the show a good review on iTunes. God, these cats. Come on, Boudica. Something's going on in the air here. They're running, you could hear them, right? They're hissing. They're chasing each other and hissing. And I don't know where they're getting that energy from, but yeah, you heard that. How is Francis? Cut it out, Boudica. Ray, stop it. Not that they listen, but they know I'm not pleased. How's Francis? He's still in a cone, and he's still in his surgery suit. Well, he's in it's not a surgery suit. It's the thunder shirt. And he's almost, what I have to do is wait for that. He has like a little scab left on the spot, and I'm afraid to take it off until it's completely 100% healed. So he really has been in that cone for a long time, because last time I took it off, a couple of weeks ago, he went and massacred the spot again, because it wasn't, in my opinion, I thought, okay, this is good enough. But no, to give him a break, I took it off, but he murdered himself again. So I'm waiting for his scab to be completely gone. So it's only a little, and I don't know what to do otherwise. If he destroys himself again, I don't really know what, I don't like it. It sucks that he's been in this cone for so long. So, but I feel like I'm breaking his spirit, with that. He doesn't like it either, obviously, but it feels like he's almost like resigned to it. But yeah. All right, my friends, thank you for hanging out. If you can, subscribe to my Substack. I know you can. I'm just saying. Thank you for subscribing if you are a subscriber. Tarabuster tarabuster.substack.com. Thank you for everything you do, to keep the show going and growing. Thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News. Charlie's a great guy. He runs APS Radio. That's a independent radio station, basically. It runs classic rock and oldies all day, and another channel for classical music. And if you can, put that on. Put that in your bookmarks and just put on the classical music all day, or the classic rock. And know that you're helping out a fellow normal person who is a good person trying to make the world a better place, and supporting progressive, independent media like this show. So, thank you, Charlie, for all you do. I'm just telling you, we need about 1 million more Charlies in this world, and we'd be in a better situation, that's for sure. So, all right, my friends, become a patron, patreon.com/TaraDevlin. As the show grows, hopefully we'll get more, I'll be able to, expand the show. and expand on, you know, I don't know, get a producer or something. Have somebody run, you know, whatever. Run part of the Substack, make things more interesting, or the, what do you call it, the Patreon. I don't fucking know. I have to have time to do it. And this is one of the things as I was talking with Hal, the reason I can't do as many shows as him is because I gotta work. You know, I'm a freelancer, so I have to take other jobs, and so, you know, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that's my situation. That's why I do the show when I can. At this time, I'm thankfully able to do the show on Tuesday, and hopefully I can do more shows going. You know, the more shows, the more the channel grows, the more hopefully I'll be able to not have to take other freelance work, you know, to keep the lights on. And this could be, you know, the primary source of income that will enable me to do more shows. I'm caught in that trap in a way. So there you go. Thank you for listening. It's been a great time for me tonight. Jeez. All right, guys. I see people are dropping off, even though we still have a lot of people watching. I could see the numbers, but it's going down. It is 11 p.m. Eastern Time. So thank you for hanging out. Thank you, Redfoot, for being a moderator. Thank you, Susie, for also being a moderator here in the Tarabuster. We need moderators because, you know, we do get maggots in here sometime. And they can hang out. The maggots can be here. They can hang out. But do they know how to behave themselves? And what does that mean? Doesn't mean you have to agree with us. You can certainly bring your own opinions, but we don't need you to be like, you know, you're whatever, you know, libtard or some fucking Trump 2028. Shut the fuck up. We don't need that shit. We don't need that shit today. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out. It's been a good day. Trucker John is in the house. Nice to see you, Trucker John. I didn't see you there, kid. All right. You see, I'm getting tired. I'm tired. I need to go lay down. I really need to just put my fucking feet up and look at Spooky. No, I need to. I don't know. Any good movies on Netflix? Who the fuck knows? All right. I'll find out. Guys, I love you. You're the best. Remember, and for those who were watching the Anti-Fascist Book Club earlier, and we weren't really discussing the book. That seems to happen a lot on the Anti-Fascist Book Club because so much other shit's going on. And that's Nick Paro's thing that he does every Friday, Anti-Fascist Book Club. Banner and Backbones, another great channel you should subscribe to on Substack. And he's just a great guy, Nick. Another, I love this community. So, but yeah, we just haven't been talking about the book. It seems like as soon as wouldn't it be great to have time to talk about a book? Even though that's the fucking subject of the show, then we end up talking about the murder of an innocent American woman who committed the sin of making a 3-point turn in this fucked up country. All right. All right, my friends. Yep. What? Volunteer again sometime and Tarot might see it. Volunteer who? Who volunteered? Volunteered what? Redfoot? Volunteer. I have to wait a minute or 10 seconds for the response. I'm a moderator for Hal, Liberal Dan, and Trucker John. I'd love to help. Okay. Aaron? Is that what you're saying? With a resume like that? Okay. I will make you a manager. a moderator. There you go, kid. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Erin, for being a moderator, for stepping up and wanting to be part of the show, giving your time. You know, no one's going to take attendance, but it's always good to have you whenever, if you can make the show and help us out. That would be great. And then when I do a show on Tuesday on the Political Voices Network, I will have to make you a moderator there too. If you guys, not saying that you have to show up over there, but if that's something you want to do on Tuesdays, you know, it's just I have to mod you again on that channel. So, all right, you know what I'm saying. All right, my loves, this has been the best. What? You want to help out too? Mom's Russo? But I don't know Mom's Russo. Do you mod anywhere else? I can't just make everybody a moderator. Tell us. Mod. Does anybody else know Mom's Russo 1 in the chat that can vouch? Because I will make you a moderator. It's just that I don't know you personally. So, no offense, of course. We just have to be sure. I guess I can always unmod you. I'd love to help out. All right. Let's do it. All right. Let us do it. Hold on a second. Where'd you go? Let's see. I lost you. There we go. Hold on. Where the fuck did you go? Everything just went up. Mom's is good? Okay. We gotta second that. Thank you. You are a mod, my friend. Wait, oh, damn it. Hold on. Hit the wrong button. Boom. Boom. How's that? Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Did it show up? Love to help out. Yes, you're there. Okay, good. All right, thank you. Wow, this is amazing. Thank you guys for doing that, because that means so much to me that you're that you would do that with your time, and that's our most precious commodity, right? Redfoot says thank you. Oh well, you can read that. Well, for those who are listening, Redfoot says thank you. New mods with us. No MAGA shall pass. Exactly. So we're fair, but we have a zero tolerance for trolling and magotry. General magotry, that sucks. That adds nothing to the conversation. And I think if a maggot ever added something to the conversation, I might faint, frankly. Because I've never seen them add anything to the conversation. So I don't know about you. And I've been doing this a while. They bring nothing to the table. It's always, shut your libtard mouth, like I'll get on Substack. Libtard. What is this libtard? And what is this bringing back the word retarded? Which is such a juvenile thing. Oh, but, you hate it. Libs hate it. You're just a dick. You don't embarrass us. You don't bother us. You shame yourselves. This is something that I don't get. We're trying to save them from themselves. Always. And, brother. They're incapable of functioning in a free democratic society, right? They really are. All right, my guys, my friends. All right, I gotta go because I gotta go lay down. Where's my cats? Now they're quiet. Good. Thank you for hanging out. Tuesday, 2 p.m. The show's only an hour. That's why hopefully we'll get more shows coming up. More fucking shows, man. That's it. That's the name of the game. Because the way I look at it is that everywhere a maggot goes, I want them to encounter our message. So the more shows we do, the more they have that opportunity. And we're on the right side of history, like I always say. And that's what Hal was saying right? We will win. We will win. We will. Why? Because we're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. We stick together. We win. My name is Tara Devlin, and the show is on 2 p.m. Eastern. So thank you for asking, Vanessa, on the chat. 2 p.m. Eastern on the Political Voices Network and on my Substack. If you follow there, you can tune in. And yeah, my name is Tara Devlin. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you, Hal, for being a good person, a good friend, and a guru. I can't do it without my gurus, that's for sure. And I almost don't want to hang up, It's like, you hang up. No, you hang up. My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you for hanging out, and I will see you soon. Have a good night, and please stay safe. And I'll meet you again at the barricades on Tuesday.